All right, EJ. We are now officially live. I have a bet to pay up on. I said on our preview show for this week that if the Vikings somehow won this game, rather that game against the 49ers, I opened my big dumbass mouth, said I was going to start the stream on Thursday with 2 shots of Malört. And also, I'm doing another shot every single time Josh Allen turns the ball over. So knowing my luck, we're going to get 4 or 5 more tonight. EJ, I know you're much older and wiser than me, but please learn from my mistakes. Never, ever open your mouth when Malört is at stake.
Yes, right. Never bet on the Vikings because they will do the opposite thing. I said that you were in the little pre-chat here that I bet that you were taking a page out of Becky Harmon's book. Did you hear about this?
No, what'd she do?
She took an IV before she went to the Aces parade.
So just planning ahead.
That's right.
What was about to happen.
Plain old pre-fucking. She said, I had an IV before I got there so I could make it through the night. I was like, now that's a pro. Like, obviously Becky Harmon, absolute badass, but I was just like, wow, props. Good for you.
Dear Kirk Cousins, wherever you are, get fucked.
I think what you mean to say is skull. Yeah. Yep. Same face.
It's still so bad.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better.
It's still so bad.
It doesn't get any better with like aging. It's not like wine. It's not like you open it and expose it to air and magically it's good again.
Let's just get the second one over with. Fuck.
Yeah, right now, before the burn subsides, you don't want to like
it's not
come down
burn. It's just I'm just
over.
Drinking liquid asshole. Like it's not burning. It's just bad.
Yeah. I describe it for people who've not had it as gasoline that was distilled from somebody's backside, filtered through a used gym sock. Oh, when will we ever learn? And by we, I mean you.
I swear, if Josh Allen throws 4 picks tonight.
Oh, man, you're in deep. If he starts whipping up arm punts, you're in trouble.
I'm actually crying.
Yep.
Oh, my God. That is vile.
Yeah.
That is actually vile.
Now, imagine chasing that with a Miller High Life, which I will admit is one of my least favorite beers on the planet. Like, I would rather have an MGD than just a straight-up High Life. And that was the pairing at the restaurant I was at last Saturday. It was the Chicago Handshake. It was a shot of Malört, a Miller High Life. And I was like, nope, not even thinking about it. Oh,
well, I'm chasing it with something decidedly a lot more tasty. One of Buffalo's finest products.
Oh, that stuff is awesome.
13 Monkeys. It's a veteran-owned and operated micro distillery in the Buffalo area. And they make wonderful whiskey. Like if you happen to be in Western/upstate New York, I don't know. What do they call it? Upstate or Western? What do Buffalonians?
That is most certainly Western. They will call it anything above the city, which is 90% of the state is upstate. But Buffalo is definitely Western. Now we got that at the Bills game. Yeah, no, it's put on by veterans.
I've already opened this like 10 times. Why is this? Anyway, I'm gonna work on this.
Yeah, no, we got that.
So first of all, they packaged whiskey in a mason jar.
Lovely.
Just to give you an idea of the type of hopper. Like it's a small distillery that apparently welds their bottles shut. My God, I'm working on it, folks.
So we were walking around the Bills tailgate before the game and got introduced to these folks. Yeah. And the owner, who has a completely renovated fire truck that he brings to all the tailgates, walked us through, told us a story, introduced us to a bunch of other folks that he works with, and gave us a bottle of that stuff. That came home in Brett's carry-on from Buffalo when we were there last year for the Packers game.
And it's just delicious. They were probably at the game right now. I mean, this is at Highmark, so they're probably there tailgating it up.
I would bet good money. Although, RIP, pour one out, Mudlot no longer exists.
What? They got rid of Mudlot?
Yeah, Mudlot sold for the Highmark Stadium improvements. So there is a new tailgate location, but no more Mudlot. So.
Okay. Well, to the folks who run 13 Monkeys, if you're out there, or if you're already at this game, lubricated, cheers to you. Thank you for making something a lot tasty. Oh, it's fighting back. A lot tastier than Malört.
Oh my goodness. I have a feeling like you probably shouldn't light a lighter anywhere near your face for a bit.
Oh, I am flammable right now.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's so good.
Yeah.
I'll catch up on Super Chats in a minute. First things first, I want to show off the Underdog entry because I know a lot of people are patiently waiting. We actually have a 4-banger tonight. We're not going with 5.
Ooh, lowering the odds.
Not necessarily. I did it very strategically because there's a boost on Josh Allen right now that doubles it. So if he gets over 2.5 passing touchdowns, as well as Cook getting lower than 76.5 rushing plus receiving, as well as Baker being lower than 2.5 sacks taken, which considering how great the Bucs have been in pass protection this year and how banged up the Bills' defensive line is, I figured that was a natural one. And then Mike Evans going higher than 58.5. Even though this is 4, because there's a boost on Josh Allen right now, it's going to count as 5. So I can still get the 20x payout if I just hit 4. So if you guys want to take advantage of that and tail that and or fade it to get a pretty decent payout if we hit on this, I'm going to throw the link into chat so you guys can tail this. We still got plenty of time before kickoff. And if you're not already part of Underdog Fantasy and you haven't played this with us before on Thursday nights, if you use promo code BOOTLEG at that link in the description below, they'll match your deposit on anything up to $500. So whatever you happen to put in between $5 and $500, they'll double it for you, and you can use it to play on stuff like this, where we pray to God that Josh Allen doesn't throw picks and throws touchdowns instead, or it's going to be a really, really, really rough night for me. But again, we're going for that 20x payout, and we only need 4 to do it tonight.
I like that lineup. I think that lineup is strong.
There was no Khalil Shakir line for you. I mean, I was tempted to actually do a real Khalil Shakir line.
Which would have been like 0 touches and, take the under. No, there is no Khalil Shakir line for me. I feel solidly about that. I mean, Josh throwing that's the half, right? If 2 was a push, that would be okay. But it's 2.5, so he's got to throw 3. And, it's possible. Baker's been mobile, really good. Evans, I think, is a very solid bet. And Cook has been not rushing for a lot of yards. And if they don't use him in the passing game, if they choose to use the tight ends instead, yeah, he could stay under that number. So, these are all reasonable bets. No kickers. I approve.
I don't do kickers when you're with me, EJ. I don't want to give you an aneurysm.
I appreciate the deference. I do.
Let's start with some super chats. Oscar for $8. Brett, please give us the biggest skull you can when taking your punishment shots. I wish I saw that before.
That's all right. You'll trust me. I have a feeling you'll have at least one more.
Yeah, if Josh turns it over, I'll give you a skull on the first Josh turnover, whenever that happens to be. Which, knowing Josh, is going to be like 2 minutes into the game. But I will give it to you. Hendog 1000 for $5. Thank you, Hendog. I came for the football, stayed for the Malört shots. I hope it's the last one you see. I really, really do. Kel for $5. Just walked into the stadium, so I won't be able to listen tonight. Wishing you guys a happy stream, though there's Malört involved, so probably not. I didn't realize Kel was a Buffalonian.
I didn't know that was true, but there you are.
And then Fitzy's here. Malört, the gift that keeps on giving. Cheers. Cheers to you, Fitzy. Rat bastard for buying
rat
in the first
bastard.
place.
Our favorite rat bastard, let's be clear.
JJ for $2. What's better, straight Everclear or Malört? Well, Everclear just kind of cuts the chase and kills you. So I respect how direct it is. Not going to lie.
Right. I'd say it's a very different experience, JJP, having done both. Everclear is right now, it's like press coverage. It's up in your face, off the line, like you're getting it, full go. Malört is not that high in alcohol. I mean, it's there, but that's not the point. There's so much else going on. Like, that's the last thing in your mind is like how drunk you're going to get off of it.
Which, as we found out last time, though, you definitely can get drunk off of it. I don't recommend it, but you definitely can.
We did figure that out, and by we again, I mean you. I've already figured that one out previously, and certainly, I mean, off of Everclear, I don't care if you just like rub a little behind your ear, you're going to get hammered. But Malört is more about surviving the experience of it going down. Everclear has very little taste. Like it's just fumes. Like it doesn't really taste like anything. It's just grain alcohol. I mean, that's all it is. So Malört is just so offensive, like on the way down to do its business that I don't know if there's a preference between the two, because I certainly don't like enjoy Everclear. But if I had to choose, I would probably take the shot of Everclear for the same reason that Brett threw out there in the beginning. I just appreciate the directness. I know what I'm in for, and it's going to start happening pretty much immediately.
So we got from Chrono Kenny says, who covers the spread here, Bills or Tampa? I haven't heard this discussed, and the game's about to start. So I know Bills were favored, even though the Bills are so banged up. Bills were favored. It was 9.5, I believe, as of 2 hours ago, which seemed insane to me. Like, considering Buffalo's injuries, a 9.5 point spread, and again, there's different books that have different numbers. That was the one that I saw on CBS. Buffalo being favored by 9.5 in this game is wrong. Like, it just feels wrong. I understand there are limitations to the Bucs, like they can't run the ball. Baker is relatively, I don't want to say dependent on play action, but it feels like it's a momentum-based offense where when they get the play action working and they get the RPO game working and Baker's kept clean because of those hard PA fakes and he has like 5 seconds in the pocket to work with to find guys down the field. Like that's when the Bucs work. So I get it. They kind of got to hit a lot of green lights to look their best. But you know how big of a difference there needs to be between two teams to have a 9.5 point spread in the NFL? Like this is not that matchup.
The only superpower I would invoke for Buffalo is Buffalo plays very differently. And usually when I talk about this, we're talking about an offensive player. We're talking about quarterback or a key running back getting going. The preview episode that we recorded today, we talked about it with CMC, or we're talking about a alpha wide receiver getting his catches. I'm going to the other side of the ball. Buffalo has both safeties active tonight. Poyer and Hyde are both in there. And when Poyer and Hyde are in there, I realize their corners are banged up. I get it. But Poyer and Hyde together in that secondary are difference makers. They change games. And Baker, for the most part of this year under Dave Canales, has been good Baker. And we like that because it's way more fun to watch good Baker. And good Baker has been largely what we've seen. We've only seen 1 week of like truly bad Baker where he just goes, screw it. I'm just going to chuck it up. If he even flirts with that tonight, like Hyde and Poyer are going to make him pay. They make everybody pay. And if Baker starts getting loose with the ball and starts giving the Bills extra possessions, they could approach that number, but it's still a really tall number. 10 point differential, basically 9.5. Like, that's a lot.
At least by NFL standards. Like, again, the average NFL game is like 3 points, 3.5 points. So you need to be an objectively really bad team going against an objectively really good team to justify that kind of line. Like, if you told me the Bills are going to win, like, yeah, I'm picking the Bills to win. I'm not picking them to win by 10.
Yeah.
Come on now. Storm for $5. Has Zach Wilson finally become a decent NFL QB? Grew up in Utah, so I'm always rooting for him. To me, that depends on how you define decent. Functional? Yeah. Yes, won't completely give the game away through turnovers, apparently. That was a problem for him in the first couple years. Decent to me implies that there are several teams across the NFL that he would start on. I don't think there are. I think the Jets might be the only team that he would start on as of right now. Again, they're getting by. He's not actively hurting them. But let's be honest, they're winning because their defense is getting a bunch of turnovers, and Breece Hall is a freaking superstar in the making. Like that, Zach Wilson is not the reason why the Jets have somehow kept their season alive, right? So to me, it just depends on what your definition of decent is. For me, a decent quarterback, somebody who would start for a good number of teams in the NFL, would be somewhere in like the Kenny Pickett tier, like maybe average to slightly below average, but definitely not somebody that you're rushing to replace, because they're actively hurting your football team. Like that's kind of what I would characterize that as.
Decent, the word for me implies, if we're talking about 32 overall quarterbacks, you're talking about somebody in the probably 15 to 20 range. Like that is mid-pack, slightly below. I mean, it goes right across the midline to slightly below. Do I think that Zach Wilson gets as high as 20 when you're ranking the 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL? I don't think he does. I think he's below that. He's probably closer to 25 or below, could even be 30. And that's not decent. That's not great. That's what we would term as solidly below replacement level. Like you said, if you have a chance and you can go get somebody that actually is decent in that mid-pack or better, whether that's through a draft pick, free agency, or trade, or whatever else, you would do that. And I'm with you. If you start basically stacking Zach Wilson up against quarterbacks around the league and saying, like, if they could trade Zach Wilson for blank's starter, would they? You're going to end up with a whole bunch of chess pieces in this hand that, like, yeah, the Jets would take all these. Oh yeah, there's 22 of those chips, and there's only 10 of these chips. Like that, he's below average.
Let me put it this way: would Zach Wilson start on the Commanders?
No.
Would Zach Wilson be the backup on the Commanders?
That's a little unfair, considering the backup on the Commanders could be the starter on the Browns. And
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of quarterback situations around the NFL where they're like, I don't need Zach Wilson.
I think he's bottom 5 in the NFL. And to me, that doesn't imply decent when you're talking about 5 out of 32. Like, bottom 5 out of 32. That's not decent. That's below average.
Yeah. Trades that you want to see and can be a game changer for this season. Ooh. For entertainment's sake, and I think I've said this before, maybe I said it in the last stream. Derrick Henry to Baltimore, just cause.
Man.
Like,
ouch.
I do think that Carthon is in a selling mood at this point. Baltimore's going for it. I like Gus, but let's be honest, Derrick is Derrick. I would say, God, who else is bad? It might be fire sailing.
I could see either Young or Sweat moving out of Washington because they're not going to pay them both. They're going to decide which one they want to keep. And, Young's been injured and, again, came in with a very heavy mantle of being a super high pick. And that always just adds a layer of expectation that they're going to come out and be a difference maker from the get-go and not stop doing that. And that's not been the case. Still a very talented player. And if he goes to a place that, has a rotation and he is the third guy along with 2 other good to decent pass rushers, like that can be fun. That could really amp up a pass rush that needs some help. But again, I think Washington's going to pick the one they want to re-sign. They could move the other one. And as far as destinations, there's plenty of teams in the NFL that could use a bunch of pass rush. So that's always possible. It's going to be a desirable player if he's offered up.
Can I throw one out for you?
Yeah, sure.
Kenny Clark.
Oh, man.
Packers are bad. It's like 34 in dead money right now. He's 28. Like, they might be going towards a little, not like a total tear down, but enough to the point where He might be 30, 31 before they're in an actual position to compete. He costs a lot of money right now. Like, he's the highest cap hit on the team. There's a lot of teams out there that would love Kenny Clark.
Oh, I would very much like to see him hop sides of the rivalry. Like, he would be.
Chicago's off the list. They're not trading for Chicago. Let's be honest.
I don't think they're going to trade him at all. Green Bay, I don't think, believes what we believe about them right now, which is they are farther away than they think they are. So I don't believe, and they don't tend to be super reactionary at the deadline or any other time, free agency or not. They've certainly started to invest in free agency in a way that they hadn't in the past, but it's honestly, for the most part, dipping the toes in the pond compared to most other franchises in the NFL. They are very much a draft and developed team. Kenny is a guy that was, home drafted and developed. I just don't see them making that kind of move. I would love it. And yes, I would love it if he became a Bear or just went to a fun young team because I love Kenny Clark. I've followed him as a player his entire career. I think he's been underrated for much of that career. He's incredibly effective, really, really fun guy to watch. And, it'd be interesting to see him get freed up because you're right. That situation is probably not getting better by the time he's 30. And that would be a logical move, but there's the rub. Not exactly sure that Green Bay's front office is going to operate in a logical manner.
If Miami comes calling, just saying.
That's
one of those destinations where I'm like, hey man, they might just go for it. Like, they need help on defense specifically. I would say run defense has been inconsistent, to put it nicely, for them. They have guys on the interior, but none of them are Kenny. So that's one that I would look out for.
Well, I like their interior rotation. And I think, again, when you add one more guy, it becomes one of those rotations that is more Eagles-esque, right? That it doesn't matter who's coming in. They're fresh and they're good. And they're just going to continue to tear down an offensive line, especially late in the game. And that's the kind of move I think Kenny to Miami would be is, hey, we're adding to a very solid rotation and we're adding some star power to it. And so when we give guys a breather on the inside, he's going to be, possibly an upgrade to some of these guys. And there's not too many guys around the league like that. Kenny's one of them.
Before I get back into the Super Chats before kickoff, once more for the people that weren't here 10, 15 minutes ago, I want to show you what we got for Underdog tonight if you're following along and if you're waiting for the entries so that you know which ones to copy. I'll throw the link in chat, by the way. It'll take you right to it and automatically fill it out for you if you want to tail it. So we got Josh Allen higher than 2.5 passing touchdowns. We have James Cook lower than 76.5 rushing plus receiving. We have Baker lower than 2.5 sacks taken, and Mike Evans higher than 58.5 receiving. And remember, we did the 4-banger tonight instead of the 5 because there's a boost on Josh Allen that counts for 2x, so we're still getting the 20x even though we're only doing 4. So that's our plan for tonight. The math was mathing, and that one came out to being the best possible return for the lowest amount of risk. So that's the entry that we went with. Again, if you're not a member of Underdog or not on Underdog and haven't played with us on any of these TNF streams before, you can use promo code BOOTLEG at the link in the description below. Sign up really quickly. They'll match your deposit on anything up to $500, so you can get a lot of free money on there tonight if you want to play. They also have in-game entries, so even if you don't get it in time for kickoff, you can play during the game and make some money that way too. So really, just in general, it's a fun way to make a mid-season Buccaneers-Bills game entertaining. That's the whole reason we're doing it, EJ.
Yeah, we want to win one. We actually want to win one this year.
We came within half a yard 2 weeks in a row. So
yeah,
we're getting close.
So we are actually the NFL team. I don't know, Matty Eberflus. I think we're close, just a little bit.
Don't you put that evil on me.
But we've actually been close. That's the thing. They hadn't at that point. Since then, they turned it around. It's nice, but
we need our own Raiders game to get right. That's all.
Or Broncos game or whatever else. But I was just flashing back a little bit to being in the stadium when they run out between the Buffaloes with the snorting noses and the lighted up eyes. I was like, oh, I got a little jazzed. I mean, I'm sitting here 2,000 miles away and like, oh, it's a good atmosphere. Game day in Buffalo is a lot of fun.
You miss your bowling ball shots. That's all.
They showed the bowling ball. I do wonder if they like rotate the bowling ball or if that is like the sacred bowling ball that's been there for like 20 years.
Yeah, there's been a lot of mouths on that thing, and you're one of them, EJ.
Yeah. Jokes.
Liam for $5 Australian. Thank you, Liam. Bold of you to not prefix this stream by checking into the emergency room in advance. Well, this is my second whiskey, actually. I poured Angel's Envy before this and then did 2 shots of Malört, and now I'm on whiskey again. And we did breakfast beers this morning when we did the podcast. So
that is true.
It's just been kind of rolling all day for me. What's that saying? You can't be drunk all day if you don't start in the morning. Well,
that is 100% correct. Yeah, it was what, 10:30, and we'd both been up since 4 or 5 in the morning, so it kind of felt like a lunch beer at that point. Yeah, good times.
Jairo Gonzalez, I hope I pronounced that correctly, for $50 Mexican. Thank you. Trades that you want to see. Oh, wait. Did we already answer that one? I think we did.
Yep, you did.
Okay. Never mind. Got it. Again, emphasis on how long we've been going today. Max Robinson for $5. Based on what I've seen from the titles for the last couple of weeks, Brett's death wish seems to be growing stronger and stronger. I am concerned. It's not a death wish. It's more just a desire for me to get rid of the Malört. Like, that's my motivation here. I just need it out of my house. Like, it's cursed. It's satanic. Like, I need it gone.
You know, I would remind you that you do not live on the ground floor, and that if you went out to your balcony and poured that stuff out, it would probably dissipate before it hit the sidewalk.
I'm pretty sure that pouring Malört on anybody is considered assault with a deadly weapon.
I don't even think it would make it to them. I think it would just drift off in the breeze. That's what I'm going to go with.
Return to the hell from whence it came.
It would immediately start raining, but like...
Jack Sand for $5. So, what's a reasonable expectation for the Vikings season the rest of the way, given their schedule / seem to be getting better? Depends on how you define reasonable. Like, it's reasonable to think that they have a bunch of winnable games ahead of them and can get 2 or 3 games above 500 going into the home stretch. That is a reasonable thought. Maybe not expectation, but thought, hope, prayer, wish. Is it reasonable to think that the Vikings, at this point in time, given their lack of a run game, given their highly one-dimensional defense that is apparently only good at one thing and one thing only, is it reasonable to assume that this is a formula for a team that is going to go on a deep run? Probably not. Now, if I had to put this Vikings team up against last year's Vikings team, this Vikings team would probably win because they might get like a couple extra stops compared to the Donatel defense from last year. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready to take on Philly or that they're ready to beat the 49ers in a round 2, you know, if Debo's back and if Trent's there. And like, if the 49ers and the Vikings played 10 games, 49ers probably win 7 of them. So it's like, do I think that they're going to come back and do it again in January? At this point, probably not. Do I think that I would favor them over the Lions? Probably not. Like, I don't think the Vikings are as bad as maybe they looked in the first 6 weeks of the season, but I still don't think they're good enough to consider them a legitimate contender in the NFC. So when we're talking about what's a reasonable expectation, I think a reasonable expectation is they get a few games above 500. You know, maybe they make an improbable run for a 7 seed considering their start. They're a feel-good story. They make the playoffs. And then if they go up against Philly in the first round, they get absolutely fucking obliterated. Like, that's my reasonable expectation, is they make it, but they're still a year or 2 away, if not more, depending on what's happening with Kirk this offseason. Like, that's how I read the team right now.
it's the Vikings. Call them 500 the rest of the way. Maybe make it +1 if it's an odd number of games. And yeah, they probably make it into the playoffs because that seems like something they'd do. And then get wiped when they have an off day, either from Kirk or the defense or both. I mean, God forbid it's both because they would get obliterated. But like, if either one of those things doesn't work in the playoffs, you're done. And I think that's, again, the most reasonable expectation is basically +1 from 500 the rest of the way, possibility of making it into the playoffs, not going to make a lot of noise once they get there.
Yeah, they're not as bad as we thought, which is good for Vikings fans. Like, the season will be watchable, and I don't want to say entertaining because every game's going to come down to last possession, and Vikings fans hate that shit. But like, they're not bad. They're not bad.
No, they're watchable. We'll say watchable.
All right. Bucks on the field. Right. Decent little return to get out to the 27.
Tell me when you get the first snap.
Okay. I am on the Amazon Prime Vision feed this time.
I'm just saying.
And all right. There's the snap.
Oh,
we're like right there. Let's go.
Half a second apart for the first time all year. Let's go. Don't touch it.
I'm not doing shit the rest of the night. I'm just leaving it.
Don't touch it. That was perfect. That's amazing. That has been the absolute bugaboo for those of you that have not been on these streams before. It is completely impossible to sync an Amazon stream. Every time you go back to it, it basically updates to live. So we are in sync tonight and loving it. But Bucks starting out wide. Batted pass, and nobody gets it.
Yeah, I don't think they ruled that one complete. Again, Bills doing Bills things, starting out in 2 high safety structures and then rotating down into cover 3. You can always tell. Wait a minute, did they double rotate that? Oh, they did. Oh no, they went back into cover 1.
They brought the blitz.
I was like, wait, they don't double rotate cover 3 to the 3 technique, but it ended up being cover 1. Looked like cover 3 on the first broadcast.
2 plays in, and we've got a hit on Baker, so keep an eye on those because he is wearing a brace, and they're going to add up. Baker's not a spring chicken anymore. He's played a fairly high contact version of football throughout his quarterbacking career, and he's a tough guy, super duper duper tough player, but hits add up for all quarterbacks, and we've already got one in 3 plays, and we'll see. That's just something to track for the rest of the night.
Now, we do know that the Bills are an exceedingly man-heavy defense, sometimes to their detriment, considering all the cornerback injuries they've had. So crossing routes like that one, I expect we're going to see quite a bit of those tonight to get them out of all that man coverage, or at worst, take advantage of the man. Oh, he wants that one back. He had Mike Evans.
He had him. He had Evans in the corner. And the funny thing is that's just that's the last third of the route he threw on the play before.
Yeah.
He had the crossing route versus man to pick it up. It was a really good throw. He made the right read. He finds the guy that's singled up, defenders trailing, hits him, gets Evans free in the corner for another chunk to really start him rolling, and just flat out missed him.
2nd and 10, another man coverage look. Are they going to bring fire zone? Kind of looks like they're bringing another one down. Oh, they got him to jump.
Flag. Condensed set.
Got to hold your water.
Yeah, and it's tough in this stadium. It is not an easy thing when Bills fans are in full throat. It is not as loud as other stadiums. The number of fans is very good, but the bowl is pretty flat. And, of course, it's an open stadium, so it doesn't trap any noise. So Bills fans make a ton of noise, but it is not as loud as several other stadiums.
I noticed that when we were there. I was like, the vibes are good. The atmosphere is awesome. Not the loudest place ever. And I think, like you said, it's more the design than anything else.
Yeah. Bucks are just spreading it out, and Bills are more than happy to rally and tackle on short stuff. So,
also, I have to imagine for a stadium that's already not top tier in terms of loudness, when it's snowy, it's got to be dead quiet, right? Like,
it's quieter. It's not dead quiet. You've been there. There is a noise boosting fluid that's consumed copiously before the game, and even more so when it's cold. So it is not quiet, but yeah, it is. That's why they shovel all the snow out, so the sound will reflect a little bit more. Oh, there you go. Oh, ball.
Are we calling that
No, that's
fumble?
ball.
Nah, they went
Say
incomplete.
no catch.
Yeah. Worst took a shot to the gut.
Yeah. That's a double downer for the Bucks on that play. Is that Otten that dropped that?
I think he might have just had the wind knocked out of him. I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what happened to Wirfs here. Also, yeah, that was Otten. I would challenge that and maybe think about.
I'm not sure that's not a catch. Like, I thought it might be in real time and in the replay. Like, they're not going to throw the flag. I think it's too early, but
that's a tough one. It's one of those where it's like he definitely would have had control if he took like one more step.
Yeah, and they did call it no catch on the field, so you got to have conclusive evidence. And I am sure that the folks up in the Bills replay booth are saying, they might give it to you, but it's iffy. Don't throw the flag. We don't want to burn the timeout.
Oh my God, what a punt!
Great punt.
That's an incredible punt. To drop that on the 1 yard line and have it bounce back, that's amazing.
Have it kick back. Nosed it in. That's impressive.
Wow, that's a hell of a punt.
First quarter, and we're already talking about insane punting. It's not great.
I was talking to Shane at Shrine Bowl to get his lead on Shrine Bowl punters this year. They got one who they're trying to get who apparently 75 yards is his range. So he's like, when you hear the sound that comes off this kid's foot, and of Shane, of course, you flew out to some random ass school to hold 100%. A stopwatch to a college punter in warm-ups.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. That's how we found Stonehouse. Was at Shrine Bowl.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to seeing all of the work that he has done by the time Shrine Bowl comes around and not having to do it myself. That's my favorite thing about Shane and Shrine Bowl punters is you will comb the entire land and you will find the 3 or 4 best in the entire country, and I'll get to see them because you did all that work and I didn't have to.
They take it seriously out there. They really
I love that part.
Riley Black for $5. Nice to see you pull out the Malört again. When you see God, could you ask him why he hates the Titans? I don't think God hates the Titans. I think God has continuously given the Titans chances to capitalize on his gifts. And unfortunately, the powers that be at the top of the Tennessee Titans have continuously refused them. He gave them A.J. Brown in the second round. He tried to help him out. They traded him away. He gave him a shot to win the Super Bowl 20 years ago. Couldn't get it done against a guy who was bagging groceries 6 months beforehand. Love you, Kurt, if you ever happen to see this. I know you're a Hall of Famer. I get it. They got given Derrick Henry in the second round, and they were given carries to Dion Lewis ahead of him. Let's see. God, what other egregious shit have the Titans done?
Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeffrey Simmons. In terms of underutilizing all of their talent. The best safety that they've had in God knows how many years. Traded him away for peanuts to the Eagles. The Titans continuously get given good players or opportunities to get good players. And they squander those opportunities. So God, if anything, favors the Titans. It's the Titans who hate the Titans. That's my read on the situation.
You know the old joke.
What?
The flood's coming. Guy in the house. Sheriff comes up, says, hey, water's rising. Like, you got to leave. Guy says, no, God will save me. So the water comes in and floods the first story of his house. So he goes up to the second story. Rangers come by in a boat and they're like, hey man, you got to leave. Water's going to keep rising. He's like, nope, I'm all set. God will save me. And they're like, okay. Water comes up again. Second story, forces him onto the roof. The helicopter comes. They're like, this is it, man. Your house is going to go off the foundations. Jump in the helicopter. And he says, nope, I'm okay. God will save me. And they leave because they have to. They go save some other people. His house washes away. He drowns. He gets up to heaven. He meets God. And he says, God, why did you forsake me? He said, I didn't forsake you. I gave you a sheriff, a boat, and a helicopter.
It's like, I gave you Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. Like, what do you want from me? All right, Josh Allen's on the field. Pray to God he doesn't turn it over, or else this night's going to go very poorly for me.
Well, I did notice the strategic positioning of your Malört shots to keep it to one player and one action.
Yeah, but the last time I thought it was a shoe-in. Oh, Khalil Shakir. Of course. The one time we don't do the Khalil Shakir 9-yard line.
You knew that was coming. I thought it was going to.
It's like we hate money, EJ.
We hate making it this way. That's for sure. Now, I thought that would take longer than the first quarter. That shows you.
It's like the third play.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
So, but on the plus side, it wasn't a pick.
It's coming. This is just
I know.
Taunting at this. Like, they're taunting me with the Khalil Shakir production. Oh, and there's Gabe Davis making a very improbable catch over Jamel Dean.
Well, that's the thing is Dean had his head turned, so he was as good as his shoulder pads, and his shoulder pads didn't quite get in the way. They almost got in the way.
It's like he plucked that off his helmet. Oh no, it went right. It dropped right over the top. That's what it did.
Yep,
that's
never
impressive.
Saw it. That's a gutsy throw by Josh to just go, hey, I know what I've got here, and I'm gonna put it in a very small window.
All right. Well, we were talking earlier this week about how frustrated we are that Josh isn't taking the gimmies and not giving his guys opportunities for yards after catch, and the hitch routes that get automatically converted against 10 yards of space, where whatever the route is, they'll just run a hitch and throw it on timing, like, which is what they just did. Like, we were complaining that they weren't doing that, and now, of course, in the first drive they're doing that. So welcome to the 2023 Bills.
And we said they weren't running the ball effectively, and they just picked up the first down, I would say fairly easily, running the ball, again, because they'd thrown it effectively the 3 downs before that. They're going to go quick here. This is the Bills offense that we've been waiting to see. Like, this is exactly the prescription we gave them to get right. It's nice to see them do it. I hope they hold, for their home fans, I hope they hold to this, because if they do, they'll probably win the game. This is when they play, really good football. And again, Josh with the throwaway, making a fine decision. I have no problem with that. Like, don't force it. You're Josh Allen. You can gun that thing into the 10th row from wherever you are on the field. Do it. Like, you just come back 2nd and 10, no loss. That's cool. Like, this is smart, disciplined football from Buffalo so far. And I'm here for it, because that we've said this is the best version of this team.
God, look how wide those splits are on the offensive line. They're like 2 feet apart each.
Yeah. Do you see how close to the boundary Gabe was? He moved in.
No, I didn't see that before.
He was like maybe 4 yards off the boundary. He was.
Hey, we're Big 12 now, baby.
That's right. We're going to use every inch. Every blade of AstroTurf is ours.
All right. So Khalil Shakir about to have a career night sitting on my bench, as has been foretold. All right, 3rd and 6. I'm going to assume that we're going to get – well, it's the red zone. I don't know if they're going to play that loose on him. Okay, first target for Diggs.
Good tackling.
I just think that Allen really didn't want to turn the ball over. He didn't want to force it too much.
And this is a good look at a defender that we've been really impressed with in the early going. Christian Izzian out of Rutgers, defensive back who's playing a lot of nickel for the Bucs, and he was all over that. He took his little 3-step jag and just drove on that thing.
Did you see how fast, like, in terms of just the pitter-patter of his feet, it just, like, the little pistons, just driving.
We talk about it the other way. All right, Bills pick up 3. We talk about it the other way all the time with quarterbacks, right? 1, 2, 3, back foot hits. plant the cleats, drive the ball. Like, we want to see that timing from quarterbacks. We want to see that decisiveness. It's the same with a nickel in that place in terms of, 1, 2, 3 short route break on it, get there as the ball gets there, tackle physically, see if you can break up the ball in the reception. If not, limit the gain. Very sure tackle. There was no way he was getting out of that. That's a well-played ball on defense. So,
and again, once they're in the red zone, that's kind of all you can hope for is just rally and tackle quick, limit the damage, and keep them to 3.
And contest. We had a couple of super chats. I'm going to go from the bottom up. Storm GD for 5. Real question is why Jerry Jones doesn't do anything with God's gifts to his team. I had lunch at a local bar, and my buddy there that's a bartender is a Cowboys fan. Shout out to Chris. And we were talking about that very thing over lunch, that it's not that they don't have players, it's that they go on a roller coaster ride every year. And same thing we talked about in pregame, we want to see that team maximize it. We want to see everybody show up, kind of like the Vikings thing, right? Want to see the defense really just absolutely hammer opposing offenses, which they can. They have Micah and Marcus. That secondary is banged up, but still very capable. And we want to see Dak and the offense go off on the same week. Like, don't alternate. And when they do that, they can hang with anybody. Very, very talented team. So I think Jerry Jones's biggest sin, if we're talking about it, was hiring McCarthy, who's not going to hold the team to that standard.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's a talent deficiency on the team, especially when they're healthy. Like, they have some really, really good players that are not healthy right now. What?
I just had a thought.
Huh.
So on our preview podcast today, we talked about possible coaching destinations for a lot of different teams, and we talked about one coach in particular, and you know who I'm talking about. Now, there is absolutely zero link. What do you think about said coach in Dallas?
So we're talking about Jim Harbaugh, for reference.
Correct.
Jim would go to Dallas if Jerry opens the checkbook. I mean, he asked for $9 million a year, apparently, from the last round of NFL teams that he was courting, which, let's be honest, was leverage against Michigan. He was asking for in like the 9 to 10 million range. I think McDaniels got like 6, so McDaniels was the cheaper option of the two. Apparently, Raiders never even interviewed Harbaugh, but if there's any franchise out there that wouldn't balk at spending $10 million a year on Jim Harbaugh, it's probably the Cowboys. I mean, they make that on a Tuesday. That's nothing for them. So,
and he would bring culture change.
He would bring culture change. He'd be a hell of a lot better as a game manager too than McCarthy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would like to see that because, again, oh boy, we haven't been doing bootleg shot of the week this year, but we might have to revive it. That was a special teams
who
shot.
was that? Who was that? 29? Hold on.
I have their depth chart up. I just need to. There we go. Buffalo.
Josh Norman making an appearance. How about that on special teams?
He just came off IR for them.
That's awesome. You'll have an old vet who's got all-pro years under his belt making special teams efforts. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's enjoyable. We love it. That was a hell of a shot.
Chris Godwin getting carries too now.
Ooh, we got a little fracas.
This game's entertaining. Highly entertaining. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
it's early, but it's been fun.
I would like to see Mayfield, just pull some wild stuff out from under his jersey and come up with a touchdown here, because that would be cool. And then see how Buffalo responds, because a little bit of back and forth in this in terms of, hey, we put up a touchdown, not just a field goal. Now you got to go match it would be really fun.
Really just seeing how Allen responds to the pressure and the stress, right? Like that's the key test is it's one thing on your first drive when everything's scripted and everything's calm,
you're at home
for Josh not to get freaky with the ball. But if they put a little bit of pressure on him through scoring and make him try to match it, then what happens?
Yeah. What happens if this starts to turn into a little bit of a race? That'll be interesting to see. I'm also interested to see Tampa Bay, just how they're going to choose to attack this Buffalo defense. You saw them try the middle there. Hasn't been a bad strategy for the most part against the Bills this year. Is run through the middle, and obviously the line's been pretty good for Tampa so far, but didn't have any success. Bills did a good job of stopping it. Now we see the swing to the outside, so this still feels like Canales is in the script, testing out. All right, what do we get when we try and run inside? What do we get when we either swing it outside, screen, or probably there was a wide zone.
They're probing right now to see to see who's handling what, right?
Yep. And to see what adjustments get made. So it feels like we're kind of almost right at the end of the script, and then he'll start freelancing a little bit based on what he's learned over the first 15 or 20 plays.
All right, quarters here against trips to the field.
Dropped everybody. Clogged the lanes. There it is.
Oh, PI on that? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Been tremendous. All right. Oh, geez. Show it to me again. I want to see if something happened earlier, because
I thought he timed that well in real speed. I don't know.
That's Taylor Rapp. He's going against Cade Otton. He's got him right off the go. He climbed his back a little bit, but he made contact well before he got there. Like I'm not sad. I'm not sad about it.
I get it, but I'm not like, oh.
There were a lot of thinner calls than that on Sunday for PI.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty cut and dried. There were many on Sunday that were like, really? You're gonna?
It's one of those. Gonna call? Hey, 6'5", 250. Like, what do you want him to do? Just let him catch it? He's 6'5". He's got to go around him somehow.
Tampa Bay fans are like, yeah, that's what we want. Paxman for $10. You are now both co-GMs of the Browns. Sweet, congrats, awesome. We love it. What do you do with Watson, who is owed $64 million, fully guaranteed over the next 3 years?
Get rid of him, because it's not my money and I don't care. I'm with you. And I really don't like Jimmy Haslam. So if Jimmy Haslam loses a bunch of money, that's just a happy little accident for me.
Yeah, I think out and a clean slate in one way or another is important, not just because
and he got it off. What a play by Baker.
Baker will give you sometimes wild stuff that's not good, and sometimes he'll give you wild stuff like that is good.
That was awesome.
So a lot of quarterbacks don't make that play, and again, he keeps you out of a disastrous play. If he just falls on that, that's a huge loss. You're talking about, if he falls on that and gets tackled, that's like a 12-yard loss.
That's honestly might be his best play of the night so far, in terms of just saving yardage.
Yeah, in terms of plus minus, I don't think that's wrong.
Now, it was a handleable snap, a little bit high, but handle.
Yeah, it
able
just
to be handled.
And came a little bit quicker than he expected. So we're co-GMs of the Browns. What do we do with Watson? I think getting him out of the building is important, not just because of all the bad PR and the money and everything else. I really do think it's because he hasn't played very well on the field when he's been there. He has been extremely rusty, and this is a talented team that is ready to make a run behind that defense. And windows are short in the NFL. You can't wait another 3 years and then see where you're at. That's a complete sort of mini tear down and rebuild. Like that's not gonna. The team's not gonna hang around for that. So if you've got it, right now or presumably next year, you got to try and maximize that. It's going to be tough if it's a rookie, because rookies never play well their first year, and then you are into 2 years from now. But Watson, when he's been in there, again, has been a very replaceable quarterback.
And I'm not convinced that they wouldn't be a better team with Jacoby Brissett if they just stuck with him.
And I think they could get him back at the deadline. There was some speculation on Twitter today about that. The Commanders, again, we talked about them at the top as a possible team that might be open to trade, like backup quarterback. They probably want to keep him. But, again, if you give him something for him, he's already got familiarity with the organization, with a bunch of the players, receivers. Like, it's
they all
not
love him there, too.
Yeah, and he won. And the defense wasn't as good as it is now. So he might look even better. and that's a team. Oh,
somebody got their hand on it. That
That
was a knuckleball.
Either that or he like towed the turf. Not sure which. Let's see if he hits it cleanly.
Laces out, Dan. All right, it's out.
Looked like his foot hit the. Oh no, somebody on the Bills. They're saying tip. So
yeah, this didn't show who. I'm sure we'll find out.
Nice job though. So I really think it's probably Watson out of the building for the Browns, and that could happen in a bunch of different ways. We just gave you, Jacoby Brissett. Don't necessarily think it's going to be a draft pick. I don't think PJ Walker's the answer right now. DTR would be interesting if you made this his rookie season. If you just put DTR in there right now and saw what you had, kind of a little bit like what Atlanta did with Ritter last year. Get him out there, get those reps, get those first confusion interceptions out of the way and see how he responds. And it'll give you a much better idea. You'll have a lot more tape and say, hey, is this something we can work with? Or is DTR really going to be a number 2 for us? And we're really looking for our number 1 through any of these other avenues. And then, what's to say that they don't make a run at Kirk? Like, that would be
I have no idea what the financials are, but
yeah, it would be
the
ugly.
Cleveland Browns with Kirk Cousins right now, would be really, really hard to beat. Really hard to beat. And let's just assume Jerome Ford's healthy. Kareem Hunt is not Kareem Hunt anymore. But if you get Jerome Ford back and you get a quarterback who's average or above on that team, and they are going to be super hard to beat. One of the only AFC teams that could beat them is probably the Ravens and the Chiefs. That's about it, honestly. Like, there's not a very long list of names that could beat them. Anyway, Jawbreakers for $5. Thoughts on Tyrod so far? Also, talk about how good Deonte Banks is. Tyrod's been okay.
He's been better than Daniel Jones.
It's not that high of a bar to clear, for being honest.
Not, but I mean, if it's this or this, I'll take this. And Tyrod has made that team more effective.
Deonte Banks has made them a lot more. Banks has been awesome. I went back and I watched him last night because I had been meaning to do that since the last game. And boy, wait, who? Oh, it was one little finger from a Bills defensive lineman. I think so. It was 99.
Shaq Lawson's really good at blocking kicks. I don't know if it was him or not. No, Lawson's 90.
90.
99's Tim Settle, if it was 99.
It was. But, Banks is just so much better than a couple of the corners that went ahead of him. And I understand why he went as late as he did. Well, I use the term late. I mean, he didn't go that late, but later than a lot of people expected. Like, I understand why, there was some stuff that made people uncomfortable. Like, I get it. Nothing like criminal or bad or anything like that. But like, I understand why. There were some coaching staffs that were just like, I don't know about that. But in terms of talent, in terms of ability as a player, you're trusting Brian Daboll in terms of relating to the human to get the best out of him going forward and kind of maximizing the talent that he is. If Deonte Banks gets maximized, he's going to be really, really good. Like Pro Bowl corner every year. Good.
Here's something you might not know. Great job by Tampa Bay holding up that screen on the edge. But this is from Next Gen Stats. Deonte Banks has allowed a league low negative 5.5 receptions over expected this season, the third fewest of any rookie through week 7 since 2018. Banks has allowed just 4.2 yards a target this season, trailing only Denzel Ward at 3.8 among cornerbacks with a minimum of 20 targets. So you will notice, of course, that Denzel Ward is not a rookie. That means all corners. He's second. Like, he's been outstanding. He's been really, really good. So it's not hard for us to wax poetic about how good he's been because he's been real good. This is not picking out a couple of nuggets and saying, this is reason for hope. Like, he's been locked down really good.
By anybody's standards.
Yeah.
All right. Another screen here from Buffalo.
Yeah, but that was a really smart screen to beat the blitz. Like, that's the screen you want to take, and they get a lot of yards out of it. It's third and manageable.
Pretty patient on that one too. Like didn't kind of force it.
Which is not what you saw from him in college, or at least not what I saw from him in college. He waited and he took the middle cut, which a lot of times in college he would just take the outside cut. He'd either take the wide open lane in front of him, of which there were a lot, or he would take the outside cut. That was a really nice little, like you said, pause and then move back towards the inside. Ooh, great job.
What a pocket. Look at how much. Oh, fuck. Of course, it's Khalil Shakir. Motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. It's the Khalil Shakir game. Dude, we mentioned him.
I'm going to rip my hair out, man. Like, this is killing me right now.
You didn't bet anything in terms of Malört on Khalil Shakir, so you're good. You're fine.
I'm just.
Look at Dawkins. This is a really good rep by him. Buries him off the snap, comes back like, nope. Tryon Shrinka doesn't want any of that smoke. Like, that was a great pocket.
You know, I hope that this is the start of something special for Khalil Shakir, because I've always I've held a candle for him. You know, like I know the talent is there. I know what he can do.
Yep.
Wirfs seems hurt, like real hurt.
Yeah, he got bashed earlier. We thought it was just maybe the wind getting knocked out of him, but you know, I was reminded today, I saw injury reports are rolling in all day, and David Montgomery's still probably another couple weeks out for the Lions because of damage to his rib cartilage. And as a guy that's damaged rib cartilage on both sides several times, and that crap hurts. Like it's almost. Did you get it? I think
he's just short.
Yeah. Yep. Man, I think that's a good spot.
We're getting Khalil Shakir involved. We got well-designed screens to cook. We got Dalton Kincaid getting involved in the red zone. Like, what? Whose Bills offense is this?
I think Ken Dorsey, like, you know, took a break, wiped his whiteboard clean, and started over. And it looks like Josh is bought in, which is the most important thing, and he's playing really well. Oh, I don't love that play call.
You know, I kind of do, because they lost yardage on it, which means a better chance of him throwing for a touchdown, which I really need. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, in that case, no, I think if Allen keeps that ball, he might score, because he's going to shove off the first tackler like he always does, and he probably walks in.
Let me see what
so
we got right now.
Maybe the play call's not terrible. It's just a decision of whether or not to hand it off. All right, Bills spread it out here at the goal line.
Empty from the 1.5 yard. Oh, were they just testing him to see if they jump?
Either that or seeing what defense they were going to get. One of the two.
I hope they don't go for a field goal here. I'd try to punch it in. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They're on the 1 yard line.
Defense has been playing pretty well. Tampa hasn't been exactly thrashing offensively. Like, why not? I'm with you. If you don't think you can get it here, when exactly do you think you can get it?
Yeah. Plus, with a banged up defense, not entirely sure you can hold Tampa to less than 20 for the evening, so get the points while you can.
I would agree.
Words of encouragement for a depressed Chargers fan. This is from Caden Stouter for $5. Thank you, Caden. I would say a lot of the games that have not gone their way very easily could have gone their way. They're not getting blown out. They're not getting destroyed. It's a play here or there. It's a coaching decision here or there. Like, this team is very close, and I kind of liken them to the Vikings in the sense that the Vikings just couldn't get out of their own way, and there was just a player here, like 1 or 2 plays per game that caused them to slip in the first 6 weeks of the season, and then they got their act together. They stopped turning the ball over. Their clock management got better, and next thing you know, Vikings are in a semi-decent spot. Like, not a great spot, but a semi-decent spot. Chargers the same way. Yes, they lost Mike Williams, but if you can actually make an attempt to get Quentin Johnson involved, if you can get just a couple more made throws per week from Herbert, like he missed some really, really crucial ones against the Cowboys that hurt a lot. Defensively, can we not play 9 yards off all our DBs in every single snap and like actually make people work for yards? It's just a little bit here and there that is the difference between winning and losing. And so the Chargers aren't that far off. It's very possible they come out of their bye and look like a totally new team, just like the Vikings did. So I'm still holding out hope. I don't think that they're a bad football team. They just consistently got in their own way.
Yeah, we guessed it on the Guilty as Charged podcast, came out yesterday. That's one of the official podcasts of the Chargers. Those guys are great. We had fun talking about the upcoming Chargers-Bears game, but in that we just ended up talking about a lot of Chargers issues in general, more so than the specific matchup stuff. And there's a lot going on there that feels like they kind of need to do whatever Ken Dorsey did before this game, which is, go back. Staley said the team needed a reset. I believe that. They offensively, they need to kind of go, look, we need to throw a bunch of plays out. We need to draw up a bunch of new ones that highlight a few specific skill sets of players that we do have on the field. It's not a lot of times we talk about teams, look, they're just short. They don't have the horsepower. The guys are injured, whatever else. That's not so with the Chargers. They just need to better utilize their guys. So Bill's trying to punch it into now the other end zone.
Oh,
quick hitter. Oh,
hell of a Dean? Play. Yeah, Dean stepped in front of it.
Jamel Dean. Nice breakup. That's impressive.
Now, I'm not on the Prime Vision one, so I don't have the All-22 view. I'm on the normal broadcast. I clicked on Prime Vision. I don't know why it's not showing me the All-22 view. But based on the broadcast angle, it kind of looks like there was like some kind of banjo look where they passed it off and Dean had the... Yeah, there it was.
Yep. So Dean wasn't really guarding anybody. The linebacker passed it off to him. Dean was really guarding the line over there.
Yeah, and Dean was take the first one outside, and Kincaid was the first one outside,
Yep. Made a great play on the ball. Ooh, nice. Ooh. Good second effort. Nice play initially on the ball by the Bills there. They had him stopped at about the 1. He surged forward to about the 4. But again, we both said they should go for it. They went for it. They didn't get it. I still don't feel bad about that decision because now the Bucs have to play offense from basically the 0. They're out to the 4. But this Bills defense is opportunistic with both of those safeties in there, and it's not improbable that this could turn into a pick 6.
Or what I'm looking for is, can we get like a Gregory Rousseau play here? He's due.
Yeah. Some good pressure.
Baker, get rid of it. You cannot hold the ball that long in the end zone, bud.
Way too much time. He got every bit of pocket he could have expected and more, and doesn't end up making a mistake, but does toss the ball up in that very aggressive secondary. Teron Johnson's back for the Bills. There's a dangerous group back there. I would not feel real good about this. And this, if they don't get a little bit more yardage right here, this is a compressed punt. This is basically a squib kick, which is probably going to give you the ball back in Tampa's end.
You're getting it back at least the 50.
Yep.
All right, let's see what Baker's got here. Looks like cover 1 on 3rd and 8. He's going to have to make a tough throw. Oh, that was close.
Bernard got the tip, and then one of the safeties was looking to try and clean that thing up. Didn't happen, but again, this is inches from being an interception on the 11.
Boy, that's
14. Like, that's, yeah, if he's half a step further along, there's a really good chance that's an interception, and the Bills take over at like the 14 or the 12. So
I hate not having all 22 for Amazon games. Can I just say that?
You can.
It's so hard for me to see what
20
coverage
seconds
it is.
behind you.
But I can't see what freaking coverage. Oh, Hardy. Oh my God.
All right. That's a no. Oh, yes. Keep going.
How in the world did he just do that? Camarda's like, fuck, that kills my average.
Yeah. I mean, again, he catches that ball in the 45, running forwards, gets down to about the 35, and then does a crazy reversal and then picks up, 10 more. impressive. I'm sure his special teams coordinator was like, not backwards. But he pays it off. He certainly ends up picking up additional yardage.
That's why you go for it on 4th and goal, because you're right back in the red zone, basically.
Yeah.
Like you're there again. Okay, here we go. Take 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back at the 23-yard line. Like the Bills were not harmed by that at all.
Oh, hey, let's go. The Bills running the ball effectively. What is this? Like, let's go.
Can't score from the 1-yard line, but they can run the ball. You know what? Baby steps, EJ.
Well, steps. Again, they can run the ball when there's space. We know in compressed sets it gets more difficult, but a lot of people, again, especially folks that don't watch any Tampa Bay football, are like, oh, well, they got Vita Vea. You can't run on them. They're like 18th in the league against the run. They're not a tremendous run defense right now.
Also, I think Vita's out tonight, isn't he? I think he is.
Yep. So there is opportunity to run the ball, and the Bills are taking advantage of it. I think that's the second first down they picked up running, or third, which that's like a whole game's worth for them typically in terms of rushing. And we're not even, halfway through the second quarter. That's a really good sign for Buffalo. That amount of balance. Certainly Josh Allen not forcing the ball is the number one thing you want, but then some semblance of balance, no matter how you get it. The run game or the simulated run game, right? If you want screens, if you want shovel passes to tight ends, whatever, or you just want to actually freaking run the ball old school. Ooh. All right, here we go. Big time. Yeah, Josh picks up like 4 on the QB sneak. Oh, man.
I want to see if they give us a replay of
whether they're zippered.
Well, I more so wanted to see what the splits were on the offensive line, because I went back and I looked at some quarterback sneaks from the Bills a couple of years ago, like before the tush-push kind of became popular.
Crazed.
And, I mentioned earlier in this stream how the splits for the offensive line were crazy wide, and like they were trying to run a quarterback sneak with crazy wide splits in Buffalo back then. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, you're just inviting penetration on the one play that you can't have any penetration. But yeah, Buffalo used to run it really weird.
Okay.
Ooh, Allen's bleeding.
Dude. That's impressive.
Who got him? Was that
Yaya Diaby?
Oh, freaking nature. That actually doesn't really surprise me. That dude is a monster.
That's a fun play right there. I'm all about that. Like, Yaya, for those of you that don't know, is the other end at Louisville. Opposite Yashir Abdullah, who we really like. Josh on the run again.
That doesn't help me. That doesn't help me at all. I needed him to throw.
Yeah, it might, right? It does take some pressure off, because now you're up, presumably, I don't know. We'll see if they go for 2.
Fuck the pressure. I want money.
I know.
I need him to throw.
I think he'll throw. The problem is, will he throw 3? That was my one hesitation, is like, I bet he'll throw 2 tonight. I think that's completely fair. But of course, the stats 2.5, which means you need 3 to clear it.
All right. Well, now I got to pray for a blowout and or a shootout. That was the chance there. That was the chance.
A blowout that turns into a shootout? Nah, I think it's going to make the Bills play calling a little bit more comfortable. Dorsey with the lead. Now, they have shown some success running the ball, but I have to think that the Bucs, if that continues, are going to, pardon the pun, buck up against that and, say, nope, we're going to shut the run down a little bit, which again, Buffalo would invite, because then they can throw it over their heads. Then maybe your roster pays dividends.
Shane Ernie for $2. Thoughts on Kirk on Monday Night Football? Top 1 quarterback. Okay, well, not top 1 quarterback. Definitely top 10. Like, I don't think it's really arguable at this point. Like, Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback. The fact that he did that in primetime. Side note, Kirk hasn't had a bad primetime game in a while. Like, that narrative kind of went away. Fun fact.
Yeah.
But he did it without Justin Jefferson. His wide receiver one is a rookie. His second favorite target was T.J. Hawkinson, who's been a great addition for them. But like he's doing it with Jordan Addison, Brandon Powell, some appearances by KJ Osborne here and there against a very good defensive line that didn't get any sacks. Like he was getting the ball out quick. He was getting it out decisively. Like Kirk played his ass off in that game. And I don't know what else he has to do to prove to people that he's a very, very good quarterback. Like he genuinely is. Again, I don't know if he is in the future plans in Minnesota because contractually, or his contract situation is different than everybody else. Like with the void years and the position that Minnesota's in, where the roster isn't necessarily in a spot where Kirk can go on a run, like a real run with it anyway. So it kind of feels like they're spinning their tires, where they're not going to be bad, but they're not going to be contenders because they refuse to just kind of do that hard reset. And after this year is their opportunity to do that hard reset. But I understand their reticence to jettison a literal top 10 quarterback in the NFL because they're hard to find. So they're in kind of a weird spot right now. And I truly don't know what their future is, but I know what their present is, and it's a team that has a top 10 quarterback in the NFL that can throw on anybody, whether they have Justin Jefferson or not. And they're going to be a really tough out. Again, if they're going up against Philly in the playoffs, I think they're going to get buzzsawed. But for everybody else, the Atlantas of the world that they're going to be playing over the next 5 weeks, they could do some legitimate damage there. I really do think that.
My question is which Kirk? Because just like the Steelers have Steelers quarters 1 through 3 and then fourth quarter Steelers, Kirk has Kirk most weeks, very solid quarterback, and then microwave Kirk. And microwave Kirk was on display versus the Niners, and ain't nobody hanging with microwave Kirk. Like that guy made so many ridiculous throws in that game, and that's what he does when he's hot like that. He is really streaky, and when he is hot on streaks, look out. Like he can literally hang with anybody in the league. But he doesn't, that's not the game he pulls out week after week. He pops 3 or 4 of those things a year and he's unstoppable. And the rest of the time, a little more stoppable. So which Kirk?
All right, Tristan Wirfs back out on the field. That's good to see.
And the Bills doing a decent job against the run, which is also good to see if you're a Bills fan, in terms of they have not been particularly good against the run. They've been better, but this is as good a showing to start a game against interior run as I've seen. They've had against a really good offensive line. They're clogging those lanes, and the Bucks Canales is still trying, but so far Bills have had their number on that.
Well, if there's one thing that the Bucks will do, it's still run the ball, even when they can't run the ball.
Like very Steelers-esque.
Super par for the course for them.
Yeah.
Like it's not working, but we're still going to do it.
Yeah, their run game has, to be fair, has not been very productive this year. We like a lot of their pieces in terms of the offensive line. We like Rashad White as a running back, but they've not been able to put it together at the right time and have a lot of effectiveness. I think their average yards per carry is down in the high 3s, mid 3s, something like that. Wow, there's a bust.
And also a fantastic pocket for Baker. That's the one thing Tampa's really been able to do well, and it's pass protect.
Yeah, we've seen it 3 times tonight, but this is Taylor Rapp saying that one's on me. Like, there is no coverage, folks, where you're supposed to leave Chris freaking Godwin alone, like by 10 yards. Like, that's not a thing. Taylor didn't go with him, and he thought he was passing him off, and he most clearly was not.
All right, well, Bucks are marching here. Getting close to the high red zone. Here comes another run. Oh, God, he broke it. Oh, he broke it.
He bounces it outside.
Dave Canales is sitting there somewhere like, yeah, you little shitheads. That's right. Why we do it.
I told you, you goofballs. Like, that's a great play by Rashad White. But there's a flag. It's going to come back.
Oh, man, the one time they get an explosive run, and it's a hold.
Wah, 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 wah.
Trey
And it's
Palmer.
on a wide receiver. Oh man,
Rough.
that's a lonely walk backwards on the field right there. Let's see, he's on the side, so he did influence the play. Oh yeah, he goes in to pin him and he just grabs him and holds him
If you're grabbing here,
oh yeah,
you're gonna get flagged every time. You gotta keep it right there.
and he's got white gloves on against a blue jersey. It's not like it's hard to see.
Yeah,
like and it was, at least it was on the side that affected the play. I hate it when those are away from the play and it makes no difference at all. That's even worse.
All right, it's first and
no,
back to back.
So
we're gonna look at 1st and 18. Bucks going backwards.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing when you're talking about consistency. Tampa fans know this really well. Our buddy Trey Sigma is a big Tampa fan, and this has been the bane of his existence. Is you get a little something rolling on offense or on defense, you get a gift, and then this happens. A couple penalties in a row.
If we see a swing screen here, I'm going to lose my mind.
Okay.
If they throw a swing screen here to try to get cheap yardage.
Nope.
Okay.
No swing screen.
Okay. Oh God, it's incomplete.
But he didn't catch it.
Again, Canales. Yeah, you shitheads. That's why we throw swing screens. Get completions.
Oh, you know who that was, too? That was Raheem Jarrett.
It looks like the ground just popped it out.
I know, but I love Raheem Jarrett. And the one thing that people that didn't love Raheem Jarrett coming out in the draft is a Maryland receiver who has some real explosive elements to his game, also a very good special teamer in terms of being a return specialist, was he's got hot and cold hands. Like he will make highlight catches, literal one-handed stuff, takes your breath away, and then drop stuff that is, in his chest. Is that a difficult catch that he just dropped? Yeah, it's harder, but should he have made it? 100%. And that's what he's going to have to do to get, more trust, more playing time, more throws coming his direction, but talented young guy.
All right, 3rd and 9 after that Godwin catch. Made it makeable. I mean, it's not a great spot to be in, but it's makeable. Let's see if the Bills go into cover 3 here. Looks like it.
Oh, come on.
That ball didn't come out of Baker's hand right. Couldn't tell if it got tipped or if he got hit when he threw it.
He did. He got hit in the ribs as he was throwing it. That's what 97's celebrating. But I count on Poyer paying that ball off. Like, again, that ball hit Poyer in the hands. Those are throws that the Buffalo secondary has typically taken away. Again, they hold them to a field goal try here, which is good, but turnover is better. You're going back the other way with no chance for points. So, good job of pressure and coverage.
Was that Josh Allen in the blue tent?
I don't know who's in the blue tent. Oh, and we have another scrum. Aren't we chippy this evening?
That kind of looked like Josh Allen in the blue tent.
Could be. Oh, somebody lost their helmet. Oh, the kicker?
No,
really?
It's Camarda. I think he's the holder.
The punter.
The fuck happened there?
That is something you don't see very often.
All right, let's see what's going on here.
The holder loses his helmet in a fight. Okay, they're celebrating, and then, he gets in the middle, and somebody gets fussy.
I mean, respect to the punter for getting into it. Oh, he took off his helmet and he hit the guy.
Yeah.
He hit Rousseau with his helmet.
And he almost nailed the ref.
What are you doing?
Again, this is the kind. Oh, no, Bernard shoved it off his face.
But then he grabbed it and he hit Rousseau with it. What the fuck are you doing?
Like, don't hit back. You're always going to be the one that gets caught.
Dude. Did we learn nothing from Myles Garrett?
Apparently we did not.
Come on, man. I mean, at least he hit a guy that also had a helmet on, so it didn't hurt him, but like, come on.
That's a bad look all the way around. I mean, Bernard's going to be the one that gets away with it because, look, if you throw the first punch or the first cheap shot, you're usually going to get away with it. It was right in front of a ref, though. Like, literally, the ref is standing basically at his elbow when he did it. So, not a great play on either side there. Unfortunately, Bucks, again, it's not going to take points off the board, but just, you got to be getting frustrated if you're Todd Bowles with the penalties and the sloppiness, and that kind of stuff just drives coaches nuts.
Ole S. Crops for $5 responding to words of encouragement for a Chargers fan. He says, "You play us next." Signed, a Bears fan. He's not wrong.
Yeah, on the podcast appearance that we did together, Brett was like, "Earmuffs, this is a get-right game for the Chargers." I was like, "Hey, man, you're not the first one to have said it. I get it. I actually think it's going to be a more even contest than some folks think. But, yeah, it's, if you're looking at your schedule and you see the Bears or the Broncos coming up, you're feeling okay about things."
Paxman for $5. Chiefs, Eagles are the only 6-1 teams left. Who's best poised to stop Kelsey Bowl 2 Swift takeover? I still think
we get a Kelsey Brothers ad
I know,
TV.
Literally both of them. I still think the Lions are a threat. I still think, even though the 49ers are looking rocky right now, and they may well come to lose 4 out of 5 in the middle of the year, like I
hot taked
preseason, where like even I was like, I mean, they probably won't, but like they could, because like I was looking at the schedule and I was like, I don't really like those matchups. Like, I'm not saying that they're a team that should go 1-4 in that stretch, but it's like plausible that they can go 1-4 in that stretch because they're playing against a bunch of really good teams, and like they're already 1-2 in that stretch, and all they have to do is lose to Cincy and then lose to a hot Jacksonville team, and all of a sudden, Niners are losing 4 in a row. Even with losing 4 in a row, I still think the 49ers are a threat to the Eagles. I genuinely do believe that, especially when they get healthy again. Like, they're going to be fine. And then in the AFC,
Ravens
are the easy one. The Bengals are kind of on the comeback tour and starting to look like the Bengals again. So I would say they're a legitimate threat. God, who else is... I don't know if anybody in the West is good enough. Probably not. Anybody in the South? I mean, the Jags, I think, if they could get their heads out of their asses and get Calvin Ridley involved, would be great.
Yep. Dolphins, for sure.
I don't know. Like, Dolphins' defense is really frustrating.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat made a really good point. Did you specify which Allen throwing interceptions?
What do you mean?
Josh or Kyle?
I mean, if Kyle Allen's in the game, something either went very wrong for the Bills or very right for the Bills. So
yeah, Josh fell on his right shoulder when he got tripped up going out of bounds, and he was, uh-oh, that's not good. Oh, man. I'm sorry, buddy. That's a rough start.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not, actually. That does indeed count as an interception, and it is not getting overturned. There is no way. So if you had Golston with interception on your bingo card tonight, you're lying, but congratulations. And guess who got the tip, just to put salt in the wound?
Who?
Oh, a certain safety that plays for the Bucks. That
Winfield, your guy?
Yep.
All right, where's this devil water? Hold on.
The chat's going nuts. They're like, shot, drink. They are not going to let you forget that.
Of all the ways.
That was not pretty. All right.
Titans fan thinks that God hates them. Oh. No.
Oh. Now that is one of the reasons that we really like Rachaad White coming out. No flag. That one's going to stand all the way down to 1st and goal on a nothing screen. Like, burst. Watch the burst when he gets the ball in space. We didn't think that he was going to be lights out as a rusher, but as a receiver, like he's just running through guys. That's straight down the pipe. He has some good blocks, but right here, zip, see ya. And after that, people are chasing.
Antoine Winfield, my enemy forever. Go for
yes,
yourself.
At this point. Oh, okay. Wow. Godwin with a great catch with a guy draped on him. That's just Baker magic right there.
Okay.
All right. Maybe a lighter would burn off the extra fumes. I'm not sure.
You know,
right.
I've had enough whiskey today that it's not as bad as the first one, but it's still,
oh man,
I'm drinking mold. Like that's what it feels like.
Watch this arm over from Godwin. Whoop. And he catches it with a guy in tight coverage. Yeah, the defender's got to be like, what do I have to do? I literally had my arm in front of that guy. It's not even hip to hip. That's like all over him. Baker threaded it in there. Godwin pays it off. Look at that little double clutch. And just, whoa, he caught the back of the ball. That's an amazing play on both ends.
Malört is so sticky to the tongue that bourbon doesn't even dent it. It does nothing.
Maybe you do need some Everclear to just burn that stuff off. I'm just kidding. Don't do it.
I'm just gonna cut my tongue off. That's all I could think.
And now there's an ad for Dollaritas.
It can't be worse than Malört.
No, I meant in combination, not instead of. Like, if you tell me I got to drink a Dollarita or a Malört, I'll drink the Dollarita.
I think the final evolution of this is we make one of those punch bowl margaritas, but we do a Corona-rita, but it's actually a Malörtarita. Malörtarita?
No.
Is that how you?
No, that sounds so terrible.
Oh no, it's a crime against God.
Yeah,
but we probably have to do it.
Well, damn it.
By the way, I'm bringing when we go to Frisco for the Shrine Bowl, I'm bringing another bottle of Malört and making you feel this pain with me. Like you're not getting out of it.
Pain already. I let you know what you're in for, and you willingly let's let the people at home know I had nothing to do with tonight's bet. I pulled up the stream card just like all of you did as I was setting up stuff on the back end and was like, is this the old? This is Malört. Like, you can't possibly be doing this again. Okay. Fitzy for $1.99. Thoughts on Justin in Chicago next year? It is possible. It's not likely, but there is some possibility that they do draft a quarterback and Justin backs him up, but I don't think that's happening. I believe at that point, there is a shortage of quarterbacks in the NFL. Somebody's going to want and believe that they can get more out of Justin Fields. They're going to get something back in trade. What that is, we don't know. There's a slim possibility. It has been proposed that, that could happen. Yeah, theoretically it could. When a guy's been a starter, when a guy's been the guy and he's not broken or over the hill or any other number of things, when he still has the potential to be the guy somewhere else, they don't tend to sit well as the number two. It's not a thing that happens whether or not you think it should. So I think that possibility is unlikely. He will either be the starter, which if the Bears have a high pick is going to be really difficult to maintain. And I don't think he stays on as the number two. So that's thoughts on Justin next year. Another Bears centric question from Tom Koch. $4.99. Thank you, Tom. Your Ryan polls and the Bears have picks 2 and 7 at the end of the year. That's the spicy part. What do you do? I think you take a very long look at the number 2 quarterback until probably 2 weeks ago. That was Drake May almost certainly. It's possible May goes 1, depending on who would have won if it's not Chicago. And that's May or Caleb, but I think that's what you're doing at 2. And at 7, I think you either stick and pick because there are other positions of need that you could do very well with, or such as pass rusher, or if somebody's super hot to trot for 7 and you can drop to 10 or 11 or 12 and pick up, another first round pick this year or next year for doing that, you do that. And there are going to be more than 12 good players in this draft, and Chicago needs more than one player to be good. So they could take advantage of that and sort of recoup some draft picks. So I think that's probably the likely if you end up at 2 and 7. And the Bills tearing off rushing yards again.
A dart play out of pistol. It's like same side dart. Hold on. Let's see the replay on this. If it looked like they pulled Deion Dawkins, so they're in a pistol. Diggs is back, and then they're running like
they did
same side.
It's like
dart.
Yeah,
and
like
dart's like power. Well, dart's really more like power, except you're pulling the tackle. It depends on how you define counter versus power. A lot of people consider the difference between power and counter is the puller kicking out the edge or wrapping up and through. That's fascinating.
It was a fun iteration, and he did have the jab step over the center line to bring people into the blocks in the middle and then follow the tackle out. So good stuff. And then Allen comes right back and drills a completion in space against zone. So yay.
Thoroughly amused by this Bills run game tonight.
Yes, it's novel. I think all the Bills fans are feeling the same way. Like, wait, what are all these run plays? I can't keep up. Oh, man. Josh, if he is hurt, isn't very hurt because he is drilling it right now. Like accuracy, power, tempo, like that ball looks really good coming out of his hand.
I was going to say his shoulder seems fine. Like whatever the
Just
injury
fine.
was, he seems okay.
Just fine. Got another super chat back up here that I get to. I think.
All right, stack to the field. Another run from Cook. Man, I feel like let's see, what am I looking at it right now? So I need him to get less than 76.5 rushing plus receiving. He's at 40-something right now. Not feeling super great about it, folks. Not going to lie.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I'm not feeling super great about the 3 throwing touchdowns. It could happen. Again, we're not even to halftime yet, but he doesn't even have 1. I would feel better if he had 1 at this point. And inexplicably, the Bills are running the ball at will. Like, I think that's their 4th or 5th rushing first down of the night, and we're not even to halftime. Are you serious?
Honestly, when I'm doing my Underdog entries from now on, I should just act as though they listened to the episode. And everything that I had a problem with, I'm just going to assume they're going to do the opposite when we do a TNF game, because that's what's happened every single week.
Or fill out your roster as you would, and then just flip it.
I swear to God, I'd have a better success rate.
It feels like it. Oh, and another easy completion to Diggs. That's going to make Diggs happy, and it certainly makes Bills fans happy. Bills just rolling the sort of 4-minute offense right here. Oh, great play design. Nice savvy by Diggs to basically turn that other route into a pick. That's not going to get called.
A 4-strong look to the field?
Oh, didn't like it. Davis wasn't on the same page there.
Also, Jamel Dean does not look like a corner, by the way.
Yeah, no, that guy's
that's a linebacker, man.
He's a big dude. But I mean, that's how Tampa likes their corners. They like solid corners in Tampa. They do not draft, guys that are 5'8" and 180 like to play corner. That's not their gig. Oscar Asker up. Does a turnover on downs count as a shot? No, it does not. The rules of the contest clearly state interception.
I would also accept a fumble. Like, it's Josh Allen specifically turning the ball over.
Half shot for a fumble.
Oh God, I'm really playing with fate tonight.
I'm telling you, everybody wants to kill my co-host except me. I'm not into it. I do not want that to happen. So I will stand up and protect your lunch money, Coleman. Where's my Josh Allen arm punts? I need Josh Allen arm punts. And dog, you, me, We go outside. We solve this. Like, stay away from him. No, if you're a Bucs fan, you do need arm punts. But as a Bills fan, if you're sitting in the stadium tonight, you are very happy with the way that. Oh, there it is.
What a throw to Dalton Kincaid. Oh, man.
And a nice catch, too, right? Little crosser. It's a little bit low. He catches it down by his knee. I mean, slightly, ever so slightly behind him, but obviously very catchable. He's got great hands, and he just rolls into the end zone. It wasn't enough to stop him or turn him. Like, on the move, nice throw. And now it sort of feels like that whole drive, that little, not exactly 2-minute offense, but just rolling some tempo. And it didn't ever feel like Tampa ever got their feet under him. Here it is, crossing, same size as the quarterback. Just keep rolling with your quarterback.
How I interpret that play. So when they showed the end zone angle of it, how I interpreted that play was, so Josh had a hook zone defender, to my recollection. He had a hook zone defender sitting on either side of the middle of the field. The pocket wasn't compromised. Again, it's 3rd and 12. He could have sat back there and thrown that dart to Kincaid over the middle, gotten a first down. Kincaid probably would have got tattooed by the linebacker that was waiting for him, but they probably would have got a first down. How I interpret that play is Josh consciously rolled out to his right to steal a move from his good buddy, Patrick Mahomes, and pull that hook zone defender with him, knowing that the other hook zone defender was going to let Kincaid go. And that Kincaid was going to cross face. Go. So you can see it here. Again, end zone angle. Yep. Watch. So the pocket's fine. And he gets out of there because he knows that Levante is going to go with him so that he can throw back against the grain. And he's basically keeping Levante with him so that Levante is not waiting for Kincaid. So he went to the right, pulled him with him, threw back across the grain, hit Kincaid on the run, and Kincaid's so fast that like there's nothing you could do about it at that point. Like that to me looked like a deliberate move, not to get out of a pocket prematurely, but more so to manipulate the zone defender, i.e. Levante David, that was compromising a potential catch and run opportunity for Dalton Kincaid. That was a phenomenal play by Josh Allen.
Yeah, and that's a really nice play, and Allen's such a run threat that David has to go with him because David can't just let him roll out. And when that you might be asking as a Bucs fan, like, what run that defense? When that defense really works is if you are playing it against a quarterback who is a little bit less experienced or prone to throw turnovers to hook zone defenders that they don't see. And Josh has been that on and off this season. The other time that works really well is when you have rookie quarterbacks who see the guy at the line and then he backs off and they go, cool, I have time. It's not a blitz. And then they lose him and he floats right into the area. I mean, David, before he started rolling out, was exactly at the catch point for where Kincaid caught it. And if a quarterback is scanning left to catch Kincaid, suddenly this is a rushing battle. Like, what?
Both of these teams can just run the ball all of a sudden.
All of a sudden. Anyways, if a young quarterback loses David and says, I don't have to worry about him because he's not an immediate threat, basically takes his eyes off to sort of refine the route coming across and then throws it with anticipation, which you would hope they do, they're going to throw it right to David's numbers. So.
All right, Rashad White's getting a bunch of touches tonight. If Baker can answer and make it 17-17 all at the half.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Then I think we got the makings of a very, very good football game, which Lord knows we've needed a great TNF game this year. We've had a couple that were like solid or decent, but ever since Philly and Minnesota, we haven't had like a legitimately great TNF game.
Yeah, and this game, in the week leading up to it, felt a lot more fun in the week leading up to it than it did when we looked at it in preseason. We went, oh, Bills, Bucs? Like, not a call we were excited about preseason. And, Bucs have played better than expected. Bills have had, I think it's fair to say, more struggles than expected. So they're kind of meeting in the middle, and we thought this might be, reasonably fun, but I don't know. This is cool. We got a lot of good football so far. Unexpectedly solid rushing games from both sides. Neither team's been running the ball well, so of course they would be.
There we go. The sun is finally down enough that I can
don't even
have the nice lighting.
Actually, it was sunny here in the afternoon, so I can't complain. We did get some nice blue skies and puffy clouds, and it did not rain in the later half today, which was lovely.
We're starting to get back into that 2-week period in the fall where we get clouds. So,
oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, I know. Poor me. JJ for $5. What do you guys mean next Thursday is going to be a great game? Steelers Titan. Oh no. Is it really?
I believe he is correct. I believe he's not pulling our leg with one of the draft bait and switches that chat loves to pull on us.
I wonder if I can get my Canada episode out before then. I'm going to try to.
Titans at Steelers.
I'm going to try to get the Canada episode out before that game. So right now, our wonderful editor, Autumn, is working on a Brotherly Shove episode for Film Room. So I pushed the Canada episode back by a week. I will try to get the Canada episode out by Wednesday of next week to precede the Steelers TNF game. God, that one's going to be hard. Watching the Steelers on their own isn't the worst because you're going to get fourth quarter Steelers, which are at least entertaining. Titans just aren't entertaining at all.
Well, and on the road and in fire sale mode, oh boy. I'm not in love with the premise. Let's put it that way. But we never know. And suddenly the Bills defense says no more running. That was Rousseau, I think.
50? It usually is. Anytime they get a tackle for no gain, it's usually Greg Rousseau.
Yeah, Greg Rousseau's 50. So yeah, he was. I think that one looked a little bit personal. No more. We're not doing that anymore. You guys are not supposed to be able to do that. I'm going to prove to you that you can't.
3rd and 3. Have to imagine we're going to get a man coverage look here from Buffalo. They really love man coverage in 3rd and short and or 3rd and medium. So maybe look for a shallow here from Tampa to exploit that. Or speed out. We'll take that too. Godwin's been getting a lot of work tonight.
Yeah, and looks like he hasn't been fully healthy for a bit, and it feels like he's finally back to being, because Chris Godwin, again, this is the what have you done for me lately league, and people forget that Chris Godwin at the healthy height of his powers is a top 10 receiver in the NFL. He is absolutely a guy that can take over a game and be a one, but he just hasn't been there for almost 2 full years. So that perception has faded, but when he's there and fully right, he can beat whoever's across from him. There it is. Titans Steelers.
God. TJ Watt is going to eat whoever is starting at quarterback for the Titans, whoever that may be.
Yeah. I think the Titans game this Sunday bears a little bit more watching because it sounds like Will Levis is going to get the start.
Really? It's not Malik?
Yeah. Early indications. Again, nothing is settled, but
interesting.
Today, I saw at least 2 reports that it sounded like it was going to be Levis. So
I might watch just for that.
I'm going to watch that game on Sunday a little bit more closely, especially knowing that we have a short week follow-up game on Thursday with them versus the Steelers.
Given
we go again.
Given that it is a TNF game next week, I almost feel like if they're starting Levis this week, it's because having his first start be on a short week is entirely unfair. So you might as well do it this week so that he at least gets a full week of reps as the starter instead of a TNF week where you get one practice with starter reps, right?
And they're playing the Falcons on Sunday. Not an easy task, but certainly better than having your first start ever be against this Steelers defense. Yeah. Yikes.
Especially now that they figured out that Joey Porter's good. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there
There's
we
the
go.
first Baker sack.
All right, Teron Johnson was the straw that stirred that drink. Baker had to step up, and Oliver got him.
Was it Teron or was it Dane? They brought
Was it
one.
Jackson?
They brought
Jackson
one
or
of the
Johnson?
corners.
Yeah, I think it was Teron Johnson, but let's see.
I think
It's off the slot.
I think it might have been Dane. Hold on.
7? Who's 7?
7 is. Oh no, that's Teron. Dane is 30. That's what it was.
Yeah. So, and Teron Johnson, like, he blitzes real well. He did a lot in college. He's a tough dude. And he was absolutely, that's where pressures matter more than sacks. Like, Teron Johnson gets the pressure and forces Baker to step up, and Oliver gets the sack. But, like, Teron Johnson caused that to happen. Without his outside pressure, he got around the blocker, made Baker step up. That sack doesn't happen like that. Oh, K-Dot wide open in the middle of the field.
I would just go. Like, you're not really in good field goal range.
Yeah.
Call up your best short yardage pass play. Oh, God, are we doing a fire drill? Okay, I guess we're trying for a long field goal here.
No. Are we? We are.
Kind of seems like it.
Boy.
What's the yardage on this one? I thought they got to like
the seems like it.
40, was it 42? So that would be a 59? I think they got to the 42. I'm trying to do math in my head for the distance on that.
And the Bills called timeout. Okay.
Interesting.
I think they thought they were going to go for it. You and I both thought that was probably the play, but.
Well, Baker seemed like he wanted it, and then he heard in the headset, "Get the fuck off the field." And then everybody ran.
You are a penalty waiting to happen. Get moving, bud.
This is going to be a long
40,
one.
Yeah, 42.
59. I mean, if he misses it, Buffalo still has 2 timeouts.
He's hit from 57. The breeze looks like, I mean, it's variable, but it's generally with him. It's not against him.
This would be a hell of a kick if he hits it.
Oh, yeah. If he hits it, this is a bomb.
My concern is, again, you're at the 42. Bills have 2 timeouts. If you miss it, they start at the 42. They might have 13 seconds left. And we know 2 timeouts with 13 seconds. Sorry, Bills fans. It's doable. Okay?
Just triggering trauma.
It's doable.
Triggering trauma. Oh, man. All right. They're like, no, don't try this. We can't do this.
They just took a penalty.
Please don't do this.
Camarda's like, hey, fuckface.
I want to keep my helmet on.
That reminds me of the Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee standing up. We are kicking it. We are kicking it.
And now we're punting. Okay.
This is good.
Like one special team, other special team. Like, oh man. And it goes well into the end. What are we doing here?
Comedy of errors, EJ. Comedy of errors.
And they did manage to burn an extra like 2 to 3 seconds. So
I guess
if that was their intent, sure. And it did push the Bills back. They have more yardage to go. So now it's 11 seconds, 80 yards. Like, it is possible. It's much less likely. They definitely lowered the Bills' odds. So as a sort of long play, like, if you didn't want to go for it, I get it. Like, it's a 1-score game. I understand it. It's, I think it's an admission of where you are as a team.
Chat's like, must have seen Palamalu in the C gap. Oh man, this game is so Thursday night. I love it. TNF is literally just the Maction of NFL. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, it totally is. It's either Maction or Pac-12 After Dark.
And no in between.
It's one of those two. And neither one of those things are bad. I like both of those things. So this is just more of things I like. I cannot complain.
All right, let's see what the halftime numbers are. Baker, 234.5 live for the halftime. I'll take higher on that. Actually, no, I'll do passing attempts. I feel like they're going to need more than 18 passing attempts, so I'll do that. Let's see,
He's 12 for 20.
Rashad,
wait a minute. That can't be right. I got to reload this. That can't be right. He had more than that in frickin' one run.
Chat, do we
Rashad White? Rashad White has 34 yards? No.
Yeah, rushing. But he had a bunch of receiving.
Oh, that screen was super long. That's right.
Okay. So, chat, I'm looking for your opinion. Do we like the 47.5 receiving when he's currently at 36, or do we like the 100.5 rushing plus receiving when he's currently at 70? I kind of lean rushing plus receiving, but chat, I'll defer to you. I'll leave that for now. Let's see. Godwin, 71.5 receiving, current 48. Don't hate that. And then, let me see, Josh Allen. What do we like here for Gabe David? Actually, no, I feel like a Stephon Diggs. No, we don't have a Stephon Diggs number. Let's see. All right, our second half Khalil Shakir number, 78.5 receiving. He's currently at 69, so we need like 9 yards in the second half. EJ.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Do you like it?
It's a trap. I'm Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. Because they threw to him, like that was his entire load for the season. They're not going to touch him again for like 5 games. That was the tease. That was like, everybody's like, yeah, Khalil Shakir, told you. And then crickets.
Okay, I'm gonna do what chat suggests and fill out the slip according to my instincts, and then literally go all opposite.
Yes, I think that is a fine way to do this. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break. I may pour myself a shot of Black Barrel because that sounds reasonable at this time of the evening, and we'll go from here. But this is we got a game, chat. Like this is legit. 1-score game. Folks looking competitive, doing things they haven't done all season, like, I don't know, run the ball, and that's for both sides. Yeah.
All right, chat, what we're doing, we have I'm gonna literally go opposite on everything because I filled it out. And I'm stupid, which means going opposite's gonna like double negative our way into winning here. So we're going Baker Mayfield lower than 37.5 attempts, Rashad White lower than 100.5 rushing plus receiving, Godwin lower than 71.5 receiving, Shakir lower than 78.5 receiving, and James Cook lower than 71.5 rushing. I feel terrible about this, which means it's probably going to hit. Okay. Waiting for it to confirm. Come on now. It's submitting. It's submitting. Dad's gone bet on the kicker. What if I pull a Dennis Reynolds and I play both sides where I do one that's all higher? I might do that. Well, let me reload it. All right. Pick'ems. Site's running slightly slow right now because everybody's trying to get their halftime in. Refresh it. There we go. All right. We got the pick'ems. Come on now. There we go. And now it's finally refreshing. All right, so I did Baker lower, Godwin lower. Oh, it updated the numbers. That's why. All right, so I did Rashad White lower. I did James Cook lower. And I did Khalil Shakir lower. We'll do 10 on this. Again, we're not... Actually, no. I'll do 5 on this one because I really don't think it's going to work. I really don't, but we'll see. Anyway, chat, if you're also playing Underdog at the half, let me know if there's any numbers that you're super interested in. They're tough to do. They're tough to do in game because of the constant updates for projections. Like, I enjoy doing it in game because I can get value, but they're a little bit more dicey. A little bit more dicey. Mahmoud Faroud for $5. Any chance we see a video on the Falcons defense becoming a top 10 unit? I honestly, the Falcons video that I've wanted to do was on Bijan, but unfortunately he didn't get many snaps last week, and there's been a pretty heavy split with Algier. So the video idea that I had for him is now less solely about just Bijan and more so about the Falcons run game in general because Algier's been so involved. That's kind of been on the back burner for me. I have some other topics I want to hit first, but a Falcons defense video could also be intriguing. I just felt like the more interesting story with the Falcons is more so anything offensive, whether it's the run game or how Ritter's coming along, or how come they keep drafting all these skill position players that aren't producing like they should on paper. There's a lot of questions with the Falcons offense that I thought about answering before talking about the defense. But the defense is genuinely entertaining. Like, they have some really wild blitz packages. The DBs have played well. Their completion percentage allowed in the intermediate area of the field is wildly low. Like, they're suffocating to the intermediate pass game. Like, there's a lot of aspects of the Falcons defense that I find entertaining. But there's only so many Falcons topics I can do in a year before people's eyes glaze over. Let's see. Next one. Gadian Laurel for $5. How will the Bills rebuild their secondary when Hyde and Poyer leave? Safety is one of those spots where you can get a really good safety as a day 2 pick. And I have a tradition for myself for having a safety, round 1 in my mock draft that ends up going on day 2 that ends up being a really good player. Jalen Petre, Jesse Bates, speaking of Falcons defensive players, Budda Baker, Eddie Jackson was a 4th round pick, but I had him in the 1st round. God, who else? Grant Delpit I was really high on. He's played really well this year. Antoine Winfield. Like, safety is just one of those positions where oftentimes they will end up being one of the 32 best players in the class, but as a position, it will get suppressed to day 2. So they don't need to invest a super early asset to replace Hyde or Poyer long-term. They can just accumulate day 2 picks and take a shotgun approach and probably end up with a really, really good one. Like, I'm not worried about that at all. Honestly, the harder thing to do for the Bills is can they get a new Daquan Jones? Like, that's the hard part for them. Also, hello, EJ. Welcome back.
Hey, right in time. It's draft talk. I'm here for it. Did you, by the way, hear the rumor that Howie was really interested in Kenny Moore?
Really?
Yeah.
Of all the DBs, that's not the one that I expected.
Yeah, but he would be one of those DBs that, again, we loved Kenny Moore last year. He's played pretty well this year too, but not the biggest name. And in fact, that's why we brought him up last year as like one of the better nickels in the league who does not have a ton of name recognition. And if he got inserted into that already wildly talented Philly Eagles defense, he'd play out of his mind. Yeah. Howie's Howie.
Howie's Howie. I am.
All the way down to Nick Sadler. Thoughts on KC receivers, Matt Kelsey? Well, that's the number one. Rice is a rookie. Rashee Rice has been, I would say, a pleasant revelation. He has grown. He has had a different game. Yes, we both know he was hurt in his final college year, but he's looked better than he really ever did in college in fits and starts so far, and that's really good news for KC. He's been there I would say it, most consistent receiver. Again, since we're saying not Kelsey. And is Sky making a comeback? Sky Moore, I think Sky Moore was just miscast. He was never going to be a number one. He shouldn't have been. He should have been a low 2 or a 3. And that's not a backhanded compliment. I was really high on Sky Moore, but I never thought that he would be the guy that you would insert as your number one to run all your number one routes and try and pry coverage open and do all that stuff. It's not really his game. Again, they don't have that guy, so he's been sort of forced into that. He has played better, but that's still not his role. I think when you're going to see Sky Moore sort of blow up, if that ever happens, is when they get that guy in Kansas City. And Sky Moore can be a very comfortable number 2. Like, all of a sudden you're going to see the routes that have been taken by lots of number 2s in Kansas City, and Sky Moore could probably do them as well or better. And then people will be like, oh, he's really good. And it's just a question of, they kind of have to play him where he is right now because other things haven't worked out. And that's not his best fit. So I think the team's a really good fit, but I think the role he's currently playing is not highlighting a lot of the strengths he has as a player.
Before second half kicks off, I want to show these picks, and I dropped the link into chat a couple chats ago. I'll drop it again. But for the people that want to get in on the second half, this is the other slip that I filled out beyond the all lowers. This one's a little bit of a mix, so I went back to the first instinct, which means I can't lose technically. Like, I'm going to win no matter what, right, folks? I went back to the first instinct of higher on attempts for Baker. I went higher on receiving for Godwin, higher on total yards for Rachaad White, lower on Shakir, which I guarantee you is going to bite me in the ass. And then James Cook, I went lower on him. So if you want to tail that for the second half, hop in. We're going to lose together, folks, as a family.
I'm here for lower on Shakir because I really don't think that the first half performance is replicable, not from an athletic standpoint, just from a fate of the universe standpoint. I just don't think that's going to happen.
See, checking in on the first half. So Baker's taken 1 sack. Again, we went lower on 2.5, so we're good there. Allen, we need 2 more passing touchdowns. Cook, we're not on pace, but not terribly off the pace. And then Mike Evans, we need 52 yards. We're not in a horrible spot on this one, but I might feel better about the in-game numbers than the non-in-game.
Yeah, basically Godwin has taken what we were expecting to be Evans' targets, and that can happen at any particular time. There are lots of times in the NFL where you believe that one receiver should be the guy in a certain game, and sure enough, it's the other guy. That's how that happens. So it's not that Evans couldn't get those numbers in really 2 catches, and he might have to, right? If the Bucks go down another score here, they're going to have to start chucking it up, and Evans can win one-on-one, and these are not the corners that the Bills started with, certainly outside the year. Trey White went down with the Achilles. So there's a chance. And again, if you're the Bills defensive coordinator, which is McDermott right now, you're going to concentrate on Godwin because he's the guy that lit you up in the first half. And I don't think you're going to forget about Mike Evans, but you can't double both of those guys.
Matthew Wright for $2. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor for Jamar Chase? Yes. Yes. 100% yes. Not a doubt in my mind. The one exception is if it's non-PPR, then I'd probably go Jonathan Taylor. But PPR, half PPR, yeah, Jamar Chase, you're gonna be fine. More consistent.
Oh, now I'm just getting happy because it's just a sea of Bills fans, right? I don't care how well your team travels, you're not gonna see a huge contingent in Buffalo. It ain't gonna happen.
Place is a fortress, man.
Yep, I would agree.
Oh, another really nice catch from Dalton Kincaid.
And I love the throw from Josh in terms of drop the arm angle and just literally throw it right down the canyon. Squeeze it in a space that a lot of folks aren't going to try. And, of course, I'm here for Kincaid yards. Dalton was one of my guys this year. That was a great great adjustment by Josh. I don't think the shoulder's bothering him at all. Like, he's throwing everything from every arm angle and throwing it well. So seems like he shoved it off. Oh man, he's throwing darts. Oh, hey.
You're the one who said.
I know.
This is your fault, EJ.
Yep. I see. This is the thing, and it is concerning. This is mildly concerning. We've been hanging out together now for like 3.5 years, almost 4, and it is starting to rub off. It happens more than I would like to admit, where I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And somebody's like, wait, is that the Coleman curse? And I'm like, I think it is. I think I got a little on me. Like,
I'm never letting you talk me out of Khalil Shakir ever again, dude. Like,
you realize that you know what that means then, that he's going to have like
he might never get another catch the rest of his career, and I'm never letting you talk me out of Khalil Shakir ever again. Okay?
I was going to say, you do know what that means. Like, that's what that means. Oh, man. And see, this is the kind of running, I know there's a flag. This is the kind of running that we want Josh Allen to be doing. Like, low impact, take what the defense gives you. There's no reason for him not to take that run. He just kind of jogged out to the edge and said, yeah, I'll take the free yards if you're going to give them to me. Oh, and it's against him.
Oh, I thought they were calling the holding on Buffalo.
I know. So those are the kind of runs when we say, oh, don't run Josh. Like, we mean don't pile up hits and heavy contact on Josh for stupid runs for 4 yards up the middle. Like, this is a really good play. He gets out. He's looking for Kincaid. He's got a guy in his hip pocket, and he's like, oh, okay, you're going to give me a free 10 yards that I can just roll out the sideline and take 0 hits? That's a smart run. Like, keep doing that. Josh Allen's a weapon, and if you tell him not to do that at all, you're really hamstringing one of the things he's best at. That's a great run from Allen. Smart decision. Really well set up screen here. Like, I don't know about you. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Bills tonight comparatively. This feels way more complete and of a piece, and like there's a plan.
And it feels like, for the first time in a long time, this is not the 17 throws to 14 offense. Like, Stephon Diggs, like, we barely heard his name tonight. It's Gabe Davis, it's Dalton Kincaid, it's Khalil Shakir, it's James. Everybody but Stephon Diggs is making plays, and they're better. Like, that's the whole point, is to not make 14 have to do everything. Of course, he gets a catch right there, but still.
Of course. Like, as you're saying his name, I love it. But you're right. We talked about this in a recap pod this week. Over-reliance of Allen on Diggs has handicapped this offense because he is so dependent. And they have done a good job of collecting playmakers. This is not a one-trick pony offense where, you know, your GM refuses to draft wide receivers for your great quarterback. Not at all. Like, he has a bunch of good targets.
Oh, the nastiest of nasty moves from Gabe Davis in space. Oh.
Yeah, this is ankle breaking stuff. This is foul. Just put on the brakes. Yeah, buddy.
Stanky.
He gets around the next one too. Like, the second guy doesn't hit him.
God, that's a crime in 12 states, Gabe.
That's right, but he's got immunity because he's on the field. This is
slide route to Shakir. Slide route to Shakir. He's off. Oh no, they ran an insert behind him. That's interesting.
Again, this is the second time tonight we've seen basically an interior. That was an interior run. He tried to bounce to the outside because there wasn't anything there, but that's the second time in the deep red zone. We're talking about inside the 5, basically, that they've run a kind of nothing inside run that is not what they've been doing really well this year.
Insert behind Shakir is an interesting little, like, I wouldn't expect that to work, and it didn't, but it is an interesting idea.
I was waiting for how you were going to qualify interesting. Oh, you got the route you wanted, but they didn't throw it, and they get a touchdown the other way to Davis.
Need one more passing touchdown, and we're good to go, family. We're good.
Yeah, they have started rolling at this point. That is the second rolling drive they've had out of the last, really, 3.
Yeah, this one's starting to feel This one's starting to feel like it's getting away a little bit.
Yeah, they had that really nice sort of 4-minute offense. That one looked a lot like this one. Again, Tampa, it's sort of like when a guy starts sliding backwards and he can't reset his feet and he just keeps sliding.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the defense felt like. They never got their footing. They never had a handle. Buffalo just had answer. They stopped one run play on the goal line, and then they made it look fairly easy. Great patience by Josh. It was the route you wanted to Shakir.
Yeah.
They snuck Shakir out to the right, and he was covered, and Josh just kind of stood there instead of taking right off, panicking, or trying to drill it to another guy. He just waited. Davis comes all the way across the back of the end zone, clears, nobody with him. Easy touchdown. Like, this is the kind of, I just want to say, like, measured, calm, we've got more answers than you do offense from Buffalo that we've been waiting for.
Good segue into Riley Turner for $5. Thank you, Riley. Appreciate you. First off, I'm excited to do more deranged Pat's Rants Q&As, or Pat's Rants on your Q&As. For those that weren't there for the patron-only Q&A this week, while I was taking a delivery of wine at my front door, Riley decided to do his best WEEI impersonation in Boston and have an absolutely unhinged rant in the middle of the chat, which was great.
Okay.
It was just awesome. I just came back and there was an angry Bostonian screaming at the top of his lungs. It was great. Second, who fixes this Bills offense and why is his name Xavier Worthy? That ties into what we were talking about, where if we're just doing a versatile Bills passing game where everybody has a role and everybody's doing their thing, adding that kind of speed and explosiveness with Stephon, with Gabe, with Dalton, with Shakir, like, that's a checkmate type move, especially if Allen's actually distributing. Because, like, Stephon's got juice, Gabe's got juice. Nobody on that team has Xavier Worthy juice. Like, that's Jalen Waddle speed. And not only is he really fast, but he's good route runner, good after the catch. He would give a different element than what they have. Like, that man, that would be hard to stop. And they don't even have to spend an early pick on him. They can get him, like, late day 2.
Yeah, I want to see how he tests. Again, he's a guy that I saw live versus Kansas, and I watched some tape of him, last year, and then this year getting ready to go down there and go see the game. I'm not as smitten as you are yet, but it's really early. I saw something in the chat earlier asking about how much of this class that we have watched. It's hard to quantify, but it's also all over the place. Like, we don't have consistency yet in terms of this class. We've got a bunch of guys in one position and only one or two guys in another position, and a bunch of middle round guys from another position. And they're just sort of, as you're filling in the matrix of the board, we don't have that kind of stat consistency that you really need to start talking about this class is, or this group of guards is, or these wide receivers have X, but they don't have Y. Like, we don't have that consistency because we haven't watched. We've just sort of spot watched all over the place. And again, some guys we were expecting to come out last year. We watched a bunch of tape on them, or they played right next to somebody that we really like, so we've already seen them a bunch. Maybe we haven't watched them again this year, but we have a lot of tape on them from last year. So it's just sort of all over the board. So in terms of shaping up those, there's a lot of people that want you to make determinations about the class, about the quarterback class. I'm getting really specific questions. I don't know about you, but I'm getting really specific questions really early. I mean, it's mid-October.
He got out of it.
Pure Houdini stuff.
Baker.
And he gets the first down. That's, like I said, Baker's going to do some wild crap that you love. That's the wild crap that you love. And some wild crap that you're like, no. And this year it's been way more of the good stuff than the bad stuff. And that is a pure, like, that's Fran Tarkenton-esque, right? Whoop.
That's awesome. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Leonard Floyd's like, what? What?
Come on, man. Are you serious? His head came off in my arms. We got a Halloween theme here. It's the headless quarterback.
I will say this. I have gotten a lot of questions about the receiver class, which is why I've done 20 of the receivers so far. But that's the only position group I've really dug into. I've done 20 receivers and then like day 3 edges from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Like, that's about all I've done.
Cal Poly slow.
They do got one coming out this year, by the way, who's really good.
Yeah, you mentioned. And, I'm more spotty, but again, like Xavier Worthy in terms of I can talk about what I've seen from Xavier Worthy, but in terms of as we get closer or even now, and that's the kind of questions I'm starting to get is like, well, if you want a speed receiver, who do you get? And like, how does it stack? Like, I haven't even watched all the receivers. I can't tell you the subset of speed receivers and where he fits in that stack. Like he's a value in 2 or 3, or he's going to go higher because there's not that many or anything else. Like I like him, but I'm certainly not at the stage yet where I'm ready to pound the table for him or rage about him. There are only a few of those guys at this point, and I'm getting really specific questions like, who's QB3? And I'm like, it's the middle of October. Nobody's QB3. We're not even 100% sure who QB1 is. Like we were 2 weeks ago, but
I was talking to Keegan, who, I mean, his job is to already be done with this class. Like they were done with it a while ago.
He's on to the next one.
Like he's already well ahead of everybody. And he's an OU guy. So like I take his opinion on Texas guys seriously if he likes them because he's an OU guy. And he's got Mitchell, the other Texas receiver, as his wide receiver 2 in this class, only behind Marv. It's high praise. Very high praise. Now, for me, it's Neighbors from LSU.
Yeah,
but I will say I went through and I did Mitchell after he said that, and I was like, I kind of see it. Like, Mitchell's really, really good. So I do see it.
He's a good player, but, I mean, I don't know how you look at there's a lot of guys in this class at wide receiver. Like, I love Neighbors. Legette's really fun as a different type. You got all the Washington guys led by Odunze, who I think is absolutely a round 1 talent.
Odunze is ridiculous.
Odunze is great. And Franklin from Oregon is really good. He's not necessarily at that tier, but he's going to go probably in the first 2 rounds. Like he is a really good wide receiver. And so to be able to, pick one guy out, like, again, I've seen Mitchell in person and I'm nothing against Keegan. I know Keegan. I definitely trust his opinion about most of the guys in that sphere. It is his job. Like, no, Mitchell's not wide receiver in this class. Like he would have to be extremely special, and I don't think he's that. So
my worst nightmare is the Chiefs getting Neighbors. Like that would destroy me, because I'm like, there's no answer for that. I'm sorry. There's no answer for that.
Yolo says Igbuka is nice, and Emeka Egbuka, who is the OSU wide receiver number 2, has been hurt a lot this year behind Marvin Harrison Jr. Actually played high school football like 20 miles away, not even like 15 miles away from me. I didn't see him when he played in high school, but I wasn't even aware until like last summer that he was a local kid, that he played right down the road. So yeah, he's very nice. I think, again, he's been injured, which has sort of hurt those chances. But again, rolling into this season, I fully believe he could have been a wide receiver, a first-round wide receiver.
He still might be, honestly.
He still might be. Again, we've seen that happen, and OSU wide receivers come with a pedigree coming out of Heartline program. There's a lot of trust there from NFL teams in terms of the product they're getting. But again, like if you're going to put, Marvin Harrison's definitely going to be there. Odunze is definitely going to be there. And you start talking Neighbors, you start talking like Legette's going to go to the combine and destroy it. Everybody's going to look at this guy. It's like 6'3", 6'4", and 228 or whatever.
5 plus, who's running 4.38.
And he's going to run 4.3, and everybody's going to go, oh, that's the guy. So all of a sudden, like, does Egbuka fit? Just like, how many wide receivers in the first round? 9? Like, that's not happening, I don't think. So you're going to very quickly overfill that list. And some of these guys are going to be second rounders. Some of these guys are going to be third rounders. And guys like Mitchell, who I think are really good, but I don't think is anywhere near wide receiver 2, could go, like you said, end of day 2. Mm-hmm. And that's only third round, like high third, middle of day 2, high third round, whatever. Like, just because there's a ton of them, they're all over the place. there are teams that are going to prioritize size or speed or whatever else more than that. And, good players are going to fall. We see it every year.
All right, Bill's back on the field, 1st and 10. Let's see if we can get me my 3rd passing touchdown on this drive.
I'm really interested to just see if they can hit that consistency again, because, again, that would be 3 out of 4 drives where they looked, honestly, like clockwork. Now they're going to go with tempo here, which is really interesting. They're going to try to keep subs to a minimum. You got a middle field close look, and they're going to change the play.
I need James Cook to not get the ball, and I need Josh to just throw a 70-yard dart. How about that?
Look at how deep Winfield Jr. is.
Yeah, it's the old Greg Williams special.
Yeah, I was going to say. And they're just going to take the yards.
When your post safety is 20 yards deep, they're basically saying, we will give you everything but the deep post. You can have anything you want except the deep post.
Yeah.
Call something else.
Throw deep outside the numbers or short to the edges because we have all these extra guys in the middle.
All right. Another little motion into a bunch.
Oh, they're going to run Kincaid on a rub.
Kind of feels like it.
They got
switch
mesh.
Release.
They got mesh. And they hit him down the sidelines.
Dude, his hands are insane.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir on that one. I told you that pre-draft. I was like, this guy catches everything.
Well, I still remember that catch he had against USC with the one toe in where it defied physics, man.
And the one against Colorado is the one I always go back to where it started coming over his left shoulder, ended up going over his right, and he pivots in the end zone. That body control, unreal. Just such a naturally gifted receiver of the football. Such a good player.
I mean, he is Travis Kelce in so many ways. I mean, he's not dating Taylor, but in every other way, he's going to be Travis Kelce.
And blocking.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he'll hit up Sabrina Carpenter. I don't know. But he's so Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Josh has got Hollywood connections. He could happen.
I was going to say, it's hey, man, Haley, you got one of your friends for my tight end here?
Yeah. Well, if he keeps playing like this, he's not going to need anybody's help. He'll be able to hang out his own shingle and say, "No, I'm on the market and you're interested." But in terms of Kelce, the reason we say that is ability to float in space and zones and find just the right spot. Very reminiscent of Travis.
Oh,
off the hands.
Stephon, look how he just kind of got tangled up with the corner there and just kind of got off of it a hair late. Was that Dean again? Yeah. I mean, Dean's a redwood tree. He's hard to get around.
Yeah. Look at the physical. And this is the Tampa Bay MO.
Yep.
Is big guys on the outside who play physical coverage.
It's just a bunch of Brandon Browners, man. That's what they are.
Yep. Yeah, I would say, but more talented.
Yeah, better Brandon Browners.
Yeah, better Brandon Browners. Oh, they're having a fight out there now. Okay, the refs are letting them play. That's been two bits of heavy contact. And again, Davis is in the same mold. Davis isn't going to give you any break. Watch this. He's bam, 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 hands all over him. He never didn't have Davis's hands on him during that entire route. This is the Tampa Bay MO. I don't know what Josh is surprised about. He's been watching tape of this all week. He knew it was coming. He's begging for the call, and good for him trying to support his guy. But he's seen plenty of this. This is the Tampa Bay MO on outside corners.
Carlton Davis against Stephon Diggs has to be the highest concentration of armbands on anywhere on the planet.
I don't know.
Triple versus triple. Let's go.
Demarion Overshone, if he's still healthy. He brings 4, baby. This one goes to 11. Oh.
Another nice punt.
I was going to say, this is the second one this game. Unreal.
Brett should order fried chicken wings from K-Town to wash out the Malört. There is a Filipino fried chicken place down the street from me. Ooh. And Filipino fried chicken is... Whew. Honestly, Filipino anything is really good, but especially Filipino fried chicken, I have a soft spot for.
And I mean, you got a fried chicken place right around the corner that makes just bomb breakfast sandwiches.
Like, it's the best. I would put that breakfast fried chicken sandwich up against anything. Like, literally anything. It's called Birdie's, by the way, for the Southern California people in here.
I have not found an equal to Birdie's fried chicken sandwich in general, the breakfast version or the lunch version, either one. I like a good fried chicken sandwich. They're tasty. I don't eat them all the time, but when I do, I try and make it good ones. And just about every time I'm down at Brett's, we hit Birdie's at least once because the donuts are insane. The coffee's really good too. And the sandwiches are like next level.
And it's like a 10-minute walk, so it's super easy.
Which helps you walk off the sandwich a little bit.
A little bit. Storm for $5. Thank you, Storm. Does Dallas have the money to re-sign Parsons, Lamb, and Dak? If not, who do you think they let go? They do have the money. They got to do some restructures to free up the cash, but they can make it work. Like, they have the flexibility to do it. They're not in as bad of a spot as they were post Zeke contract. They have a little bit more maneuverability. I would say my main concern at this point is making sure that everything doesn't hit at the same time, like making sure that the big spikes for Parsons, Lamb, if there is some sort of extension shenanigans with Dak, and also, upcoming for Tyler Smith, like whenever that has to get done, like make sure that everything is staggered out between a lot of their young guys. I can't remember when Diggs's money spikes heavily, but they have to time it around that as well. They just gave him a bunch. Let's see, who else is due for them? I can't remember when Deron Bland has to get signed, but I don't think they're going to let him go. He's been too good for them. I think it's in a couple years. I think they have time. Tank Lawrence, I think that contract is okay. Like, that's the thing is, like, they have a lot of good players, but off the top of my head, because Brad was posting about it recently, like they have flexibility to move shit around where they can keep the core together. It'll take some massaging, but they can do it. Like, it's not as dire as post Zeke contract where like they were fucked and they had to get rid of Amari because they had no other way. Like, they're in a better spot.
By the way, if the Bills snuff out this drive, again, Bucks backed up deep because of an excellent punt, got a nice run stuff on first down. If the Bills snuff this drive, like, this game could get out of hand really quickly.
Yep. I mean, third quarter's almost done.
Oh no.
Is that Tehran? I think it was.
Yeah, it was. And this is not looking great if you're a Bucks fan. Like, the Bills have been and I'll use the word very purposefully, efficient tonight as we've seen them all season. And if they're able to, again, have that handshake, that mesh between offense and defense, and the defense is playing very solid football, which they are right now, and the offense continues this sort of clockwork, like, we're just going to take what you give us and you don't have any answers. Nope.
They're short. And you can't, a long two, you can't go for it from here, even though I know it's going to be tempting because you're looking at the clock and you're like, okay, well, we're down by 14. Do we think we're going to get enough possessions? Like, you still have to punt it here. If it was inches, maybe, I think there'd be a discussion, but a long two, like, you got to punt it.
I just have to give a shout to McDermott. We wondered openly in our summer preview series whether or not taking over because we assumed at that point the Bills were the very last episode we did, and we hadn't heard confirmation. We were pretty sure that McDermott was going to handle it going forward, but he hadn't sort of marked that in stone yet. We assumed that was the case and that was going to happen, and we really wondered if that was going to take away from his ability to manage. The whole team. I think he was down. Yeah, he's down by contact. So we wondered openly whether that was going to be a detriment to the Bills. We weren't sure. It was kind of a wait and see. I got to give him his absolute props on this one. Like, the Bills defense in general, outside of all the personnel losses, has generally been better. It's been up and down, but it doesn't seem like he's lost that touch to really sort of circle the wagons when he needs to. And, I think that move has worked out better than either one of us thought it might. We weren't passing judgment, but we were both sort of like, oh, wait and see. Especially tonight, it seems like they're firing on all cylinders. He's got a pretty good pulse. Both halves of the team are playing really, really well.
M16A1 for $5. Thoughts on Byard to Philly? Him and Reed seem like a killer tandem. A lot of instinct and smarts in the back end. How does he fit into the Desai scheme? He fits into the Desai scheme in the sense that he's very used to playing a lot of quarters. Like, that's what they did in Tennessee because they trusted Byard to match guys vertically down the field and essentially be a corner, but from a 12-yard depth instead of being 3 yards off the receiver. Like, that's what safeties have to do in that type of system. Is they have to be able to match receivers vertically. They have to be able to handle two-way goes from a bunch of space. It's a hard position to play coverage-wise because you're always out-leveraged. You're always flat-footed against guys that run 4-3. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to the run fit in quarters, like, B-gap's yours. Like, you got to come down and fill the alley from depth. Good luck. Or you have to redirect quickly, depending on if your edges are coached to spill everything outside on, like, counter. And then you have to, like, put your foot in the ground and get outside and not get beat to the edge. Like, playing safety in a quarters-heavy system is really, really, really hard to do. That's why the Eagles traded for Byard, because they didn't have enough guys to do it. So in terms of how he fits with the Eagles, he fits perfectly because he's already played in that type of system and been an all-pro in it. And considering the financials involved, considering the compensation that was given up, considering that he's still a very good player even at his age and is a better safety than anybody else that's on the team, like, this is a perfect deal for Philly. It's great for them. And I don't honestly think that Tennessee got enough. I'm not saying that they should have gotten, like, a second-round pick. They weren't going to get a second-round pick for a 30-year-old safety. I would have thought they were going to get more than Terrell Edmunds, a 5 and a 6. Like, something better than that. But great deal for Philly.
And I brought this one up. You weren't aware of it, that both of those guys, Reed Blankenship and Kevin Byard, are like, Blankenship was the successor to Byard at Middle Tennessee State.
Mm-hmm.
MTSU. They're both MTSU safeties, the best two players to come out of MTSU in the last, 10 years in terms of pro careers. And it was literally Byard left, and a year later, Blankenship started, and they just, for 8 years, kind of ruled the middle for Middle Tennessee State, and they both end up on the Eagles. Again, neither of them started there. But it's really interesting. They're both now going to get to play in the same backfield, and really talented guys, different levels. Byard, certainly a better player throughout most of his career than Blankenship, but we like Blankenship. I liked him as he was eventually an undrafted free agent. I thought he should have come out the year before he actually did, but just one of those fun facts that literally the best two guys out of one smaller program both end up in the Eagles backfield because Howie's Howie.
Because Howie. All right, let's see if Allen can just kind of put him away. If they score here, it's probably game over.
Yeah.
Did he get both feet in?
Yes, he sure did. That is a dig staple, the back shoulder from Allen. And if they get that rolling, it just feels like, oh, wait, Old Faithful's here? Look out. Everything's working. Diggs wanted this one. He's been fighting those corners all night. He wanted a win.
Especially after how last drive ended. He's like, just give me one more. Give me one more.
1, 2, bun. Oh, man, done. That's been one of the more unstoppable plays in the NFL. Back shoulder to Diggs. Oh, hey, Josh.
I almost take a little gas off that one.
I almost want to call a timeout and be like, Josh, come here. You've played awesome all night. Don't do that again. Like, you don't need to. We're way up. Throttle it back. Take what they give you. Lean on the running game. Spread it around. Don't do that again. Like, that's not a super terrible throw in terms of a turnover-worthy play, but, like, ease up.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
I told you.
Shit's starting to go south.
Nah, you got to get him over, put the ice pack on his neck. It's like when the boxer gets hit in the face the first time and his eyes glaze over. You got to get him over, put the ice pack on his neck. Be like, chill out, man. Chill out. I know you got hit. It's cool. Like, relax. Settle. You've been playing so well. And look, he doesn't set his feet. Like he had it. He freaking had it.
All right, 3rd and 10.
By the way, this is the part where you get really scared.
Oh, they jumped. They didn't give him the free play, though. RJ Walsh for $5. Can we finally put Danielle Hunter in the Defensive Player of the Year combo? Currently at plus 2,500 on FanDuel. So I like Danielle Hunter. He's got a lot of sacks this year. Pass rush win rate, remember, is like 56th in the NFL. I think sacks versus pressures versus win rate are very different things, and modern voters don't just vote on sacks. They also vote in terms of how consistent is your impact, how many pressures are you getting, what is your win rate relative to the other edge rushers in the NFL. And as it stands right now, Chris Jones, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, I would even say Aaron Donald, Jalen Carter might be ahead of Danielle Hunter in that conversation. Not that Hunter isn't a very, very, very good player, but you ask 32 GMs right now who they want in the field for them this Sunday, Myles Garrett or Danielle Hunter, not a single one saying Danielle Hunter. Guarantee it. But a very good player. Very good player.
And again, this is Josh Allen doing the smart thing. We want him to take these runs. If you're going to give an athlete like Josh that much space in the middle of the field and he can slide and not take a hit, why wouldn't you? And they rip off a huge middle run with Cook coming back on their place. This is what they've not been able to do. And we have been hammering the table saying they need more balance. They've got to find a run game. Can't just put the ball on Josh's arm and say, win it, because bad things happen. And he's able to do this. He's got a 2nd and 1 now.
They brought 6.
What was that? What was that?
I think Josh thought, was he trying to catch them with 12 guys, and did he miscount? Like, he was pointing like he caught them in something.
Yeah, he was pointing to the sideline like, what are we doing here? Like, what was that? That was not a straight, like, there was something going on.
He was operating like he had some sort of free play opportunity there and was, like, rushing it.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Nicholas Coyote for $2. Just got off work. How drank is Brett? Well, luckily.
Not as drank as you.
not as drank as I could have been if the Bills kept turning the ball over. So thankfully, Josh Allen did not choose tonight to throw 4 arm punts in one game. So my body is doing decently well. But, still a quarter left to play, and we've had some shaky balls, so we'll see. We'll see.
Is that a medical condition?
Shaky balls. Oh, God. Matthew Wright for $2. Can the 49ers pay Ayuk, Greenlaw, and Hufanga? Ooh, that's the harder one. Because Ayuk on the open market right now is getting 25 plus. Greenlaw on the open market right now is getting 15 plus. Hufanga on the open market right now, 12 to 13. Maybe. Considering what safeties are getting paid right now.
Yeah. Again, you were talking about modern voters. I'm going to talk about modern GMs. There's places where he heavily impacts the game, and they are high flash, and he is better at supporting the other parts, but I don't know that I would put him on the same level as the top guys that are getting 12 or 13. That being
12 right now is Jalen Thompson money. Right now, the top is Derwin at 19. Minka's at 18 too. Like 12 isn't that big in
You're right. I just hadn't kept up on recent salaries at that point. No, he's definitely getting 12. He's probably in free agency because you have to overpay to get good players. He's probably getting 14.
And Greenlaw, again, if Roquan's at 20, Greenlaw's at least 15, right?
Well, he's a high-end linebacker too. Like and again, inside linebacker market has been suppressed a little bit, but again, all salaries are going up, and he is at the top of whatever not the primary guys are getting, right? He's the top of the second tier. He's the best of the best in terms of, and I feel like Robin is disrespectful. Like it's Batman and the lower Batman.
Alternate universe Batman.
yeah, that's right. Exactly. Perfect. Love it. So yeah, he's not getting Fred Warner money. He's not getting Roquan money, but whatever the next tier down is, he's at the top of that, or should be.
The one advantage they have is if they just stick with Purdy's dirt cheap, so they could front load a lot of this for these guys and just get a lot of the money out of the way while Purdy's cheap. Like that's the advantage they have. But if they're going to do it, they got to do it this offseason. So we'll see. All right, 4th and 4. Bills are going for it. It seems like it. Trying to put this game away right here and now.
And Josh drilled the third down throw, so we'll see. Again,
some kind of communication issue. Yeah. It seems like Kincaid lined up on him, and he didn't like the look.
They're just trying to get him. I hate that.
At this point, they're worried about giving the ball back at midfield because it's a time thing, and the shorter they have to go, the less time a potential answering drive from Tampa would take. It's a possession thing. It's a 2-possession game. If we're going to make them have to do 2 possessions to tie, what they're thinking is take the penalty, make it an easier punt to pin them so that whatever possession they take has to take more time. They don't want to have an incompletion or anything like that that would A, stop the clock, and B, make it so that their answering possession is potentially a lot shorter and saving time. Like I think that's a clock move. Like, see, that's exactly what they want. At the 4-yard line, make them go 96 yards just to get within 7. Like that's good clock management, honestly.
If I told you at the top that we were going to be treated to some deluxe rushing attacks and some exquisite punting, would you have believed it?
It's been a great punter's duel. I will say Deontay Hardy's the only reason why Camarda's net's been tanking, because Hardy's had some great returns in this game, but Camarda's had some really nice punts too.
Yeah, he started it off, and then like the Bills punter was like, "Oh yeah, anything you can do, I can do better." Like, let's go.
It's looking like a Shrine Bowl practice out here.
All of a sudden, making some very loud thumps when the punters hit their kicks. But that's all kidding aside. Great special teams play for the Bills. Sets them up very nicely. They've got a 2-possession lead. You're going to make an offense that has had fits and starts, but has not had the consistency that yours has to drive the field. It's a good place to be. With a lot of the fourth quarter remaining, arguably, but again, not a much better start than that. You're going to make them go 95 plus to score, and they haven't really showed that ability yet tonight. So this is what you want.
Yeah, I mean, it already worked once for him when they backed him up on the 1-yard line. Twice. By going for it, not by punting, but by going for it. And I think McDermott's overall strategy tonight of, I'm going to make Baker Mayfield go 95 yards on as many drives as possible. It's working. Like, what was it, like the 3rd time that they've started inside their own 10? Maybe more?
Yeah. And they did it once with the sort of the turnover on downs. They've done it twice now with punts, and it's worked for them the last 2 times. So we'll see if it works for them this time as well. Again, this is clearly sort of Missouri territory for Baker and the Bucs offense. Show me. I'm the show me state. Like, prove that you can go 95 and make it happen. And, they can. They have the weapons to, but they haven't been able to yet. So, again, like, yeah, go for it, man. I dare you.
Exquisite punting made me LOL a lot harder than it should have. Welcome to Bootleg. It's what we celebrate.
Yeah, we're trying to make you enjoy these games. We enjoy them a lot. We're just trying to share the love.
I mean, for a 24-10, this has been kind of entertaining.
Very watchable football game for multiple reasons. So, and again, neither one of us have a strong rooting interest in this game. Like, we just want to see decent football, and some weeks we get it, and some weeks we don't. But the little dirty trade secret is,
Baker.
They're gonna give him grounding unless they give him Evans in the area.
I think they gave him Evans in the area. Baker's pulled some Houdinis tonight, man. He's gotten out of 3 sacks that he should not have gotten out of.
And those all would have been extremely negative plays. This one, a safety. Does his knee go? Oh, boy.
He got it out.
Inches.
His face hit the ground pretty hard, but he got it out.
Well, yeah, but he was like, anything to get that ball off. And then Tim Settle's like, I'm going to take your neck and drive your head into the ground. Oh, he's so, again, we talk about the NFL being a game of inches, like an inch and a half before his knee hits the turf. He lets that ball out. So, yeah, the dirty trade secret is we watch a lot of bad football and we like it anyways.
Baker's rushing yards tonight. Low key, it's got to be at least 40 by now, right? Hold on.
Well, he knew that you placed faith in him with that sack total.
I know.
On your original roster. He's just trying to pay you off, man. He's a loyal dude.
He only got 13 rushing. Oh, no, his big one got called back. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was like, how does he only have 13 yards?
Oh, man. Is there a more classic combination than Buffalo Bills football and Zubaz?
Love it. Love it. All right. God, what a crazy front from the Bills. It's like our closest interior defensive lineman's a 5 technique.
It's the second big play for Poyer. Second time he's got his hands on the ball. He's mad he didn't come away with that. Now, I actually think he had less chance of picking off that ball than he did the one earlier in the game, but he's hungry. He's waiting for one. Jordan Poyer, such a smart safety. He's made so many plays for the Bills. He's right there.
Yeah, rotate down to a cover 3. He's the hook defender, literally just sitting on it all the way. His entire role coming down to play the hook is to rob the middle of the field because, again, trips to the field, you're assuming one of those guys is going to be coming across the middle, especially in that down and distance. His job is just read Baker all the way and get the ball. He read Baker, didn't get the ball.
Wow. Okay, speaking of exquisite punting, Camarda picked that off the turf. Like, it was not a great snap. And he drove it all the way back to the 35 out of his own end zone. Like, that's a yeoman's effort, man. He banged that ball.
Another flag. Can't tell who it's on. On the receiving team. Okay.
Joey Nichols says, enjoying a dark matter porter by Logboat Brewing right now. Very good and very affordable. Where is Logboat Brewing out of? Sounds delicious. Let us know in the comments. I'm always interested in great regional beer for sure.
Speaking of, got the shot of the Labatt.
I was just going to say, now I'm missing blues. I want a blue or a blue light. Come on, blue light. Honestly, I'm not much on light beer, just generally across the board. But if I've got to drink a light beer, like blue light is one I will absolutely go to. Like, that stuff is solid.
I think we're caught up on super chats, but chat, if we missed any of yours, please let us know, and we'll get to them. I think we're good now, but
I think we're good, but we got some time, so toss some questions our way, super chat or not. We'll try and answer them.
Let's see, how many minutes do we have left? Or in the game, I should say. So 13 minutes. Tampa might get 3 more drives max, depending on how many stops they get, but I'm going to assume 3 is possible. So you have to basically give up nothing for the rest of the game and then play perfect offense the rest of the game.
Yeah, time is running out to be perfect. So
tough.
Joey Nichols says, the Porter's out of Columbia, Missouri. Thank you very much for that. Got to give a like for the Canadian brew discussion. Brad Gilbert. Hey, I am here for a Canadian beer discussion. In fact, I have an Andrew Keith's t-shirt upstairs, and it's a green. Andrew Keith's green, not Andrew Keith's red, but like I'll take either. Many good Canadian beers. I did a lot of work in Canada earlier in my life and spent a lot of time up there. Got a lot of Canadian friends. Really enjoy all the provinces, but the beer culture up there is a lot of fun. Mostly the shit talking about the beer culture up there is a lot of fun, but the beers are great too. And always enjoyed my time up there. Yeah, beers are a wonderful diversion. So happy to talk about Canadian beer anytime.
Sean Tron, he said that we missed his, and then he said, I'm assuming this is the question that we missed, Sean Tron. Let me know if it's not. He says, so much rage over the bad refs. Even Ursa is jumping in. But what can even be done? In terms of what can be done about bad refs, I'm not entirely sure what kind of accountability is allowed because of collective bargaining of the union and everything like that. Like, I don't know if they're allowed to be fined. I don't know if they're allowed to be benched per se. But there needs to be, in the next collective bargaining agreement with the refs, which I feel like the last one was over 10 years ago now, so it's got to be coming up soon, right? Because it was the Fail Mary was when they were last negotiating, which was 2013, 2014, somewhere around there.
A bit ago now.
I got to assume it's coming up, but like if I was the league, I would push hard to have some sort of mechanism for accountability for bad refs, because since the last collective bargaining agreement with the refs, the league has gotten a lot more involved with motherfucker Khalil Shakir. God damn it.
I'm sorry.
It's your fault, EJ. It's your fault, EJ.
It's totally my fault. It's actually Josh Allen's fault. Look at this dart. This is a crossing route in coverage. Like, this window is not big, and he puts it between the 1 and the 0. That's just a flick. Like most quarterbacks, that's a set and throw. For Josh Allen, feet open, toes towards the receiver, sidearm, 15 yards right there on the number. Like, gorgeous. Beautiful.
But to wrap up the point real quick, between the last time there was the collective bargaining with the refs and now, the league's obviously gotten in bed with a lot of sports betting and sports books and everything like that. So there needs to be some sort of mechanism for accountability to shield the league. Like, that's what they have to focus on. The league has to put its foot down and have some way to hold refs accountable for the sake of optics. Like, there's no choice in the matter. They have to do it.
So Bills driving. We'll see if they can sort of retake that form they had earlier. Okay.
Looks like the ball got hit at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Dean was all over Gabe Davis, but quick shout out to Tyler Caldwell. Tacoma to your head, baby. What do you know about Frisco Freeze? Frisco Freeze is the closest greasy burger place to where I went to college. It is the late night kind of walk up, illuminated by neon, like, get yourself a sack of greasy burger and fries at whatever time you're wandering around doing whatever. I know all about Frisco Freeze. Been a while since I had a Frisco burger, but yeah, they are deeply satisfying when that's your jam, when you're looking for just that kind of food at just that kind of hour of the night. Frisco Freeze. There's only one. They never made a chain out of it. It's right there in North Tacoma.
Oh, that's it? It's just a single location?
And it's been there since believe the late 50s, early 60s.
Wow.
Like, so it is an institution. It is drive up only. There's no place to like sit down and eat inside. It is a walk up burger joint, and they are making probably the same food they made in the 50s and 60s. And it just keeps right on trucking, right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Just a few blocks from Tacoma General, the hospital there. Know all about Frisco Freeze. So shout out, Tyler.
That's awesome. Another flag on the bill. God, how many penalties is that tonight?
Yeah, well, early in the game, and honestly throughout the game, the Bucs have been sort of tagged by very untimely penalties that have interrupted drives, and now the Bills sort of seem to have said, hey, we don't want you to be the only ones. We don't want you to feel bad, visitors. We want you to, we want to get in on the act too. We're going to get some penalties that I'm sure are not making McDermott happy. He would like to close this thing out and go away clean. And instead, last 30 drives now, not quite that. They've kind of lost their fastball a little bit.
Bucks have 8 penalties. Bills have 7. So not a super clean game by either team, which
just trying to catch up.
Trying to survive at this point.
Yeah.
What are my Seahawks' chances of winning the NFC? Ooh. It's a very different question than what are my Seahawks' chances of winning the NFC West.
Yeah.
Winning the NFC West, not bad chances at all. Like, I picked them to win the division. I still would pick them to win the division. Winning the NFC, going up against Philly and going up against Detroit and going up against... Ooh, that's tough. I would say I would give them like a 15% chance. And that's good. Like, that's good. Like, there's no team in the NFC that I think has more than like a 25-30% chance. It's probably the Eagles.
That's what I thought. They got super lucky there. He never caught that thing, and it just bounced back to him.
Recovered it with his legs.
Yeah, and again, here we go. We're talking about punting, and usually we joke about punters on this show, but like, come on. The Bucks, again, are going to go roughly 95 yards. They've not showed that ability. Bills are using the punter as a weapon, quite frankly, at this point, saying, we know that you can't march the field because you've shown us over and over again. So we're feeling really good about putting this much green grass between you and points. We don't think you could make it because our defense, again, is locking it down and playing really well. This defense is just very different when both Hyde and Poyer are in at safety.
Chat said that Seattle's already shown they can beat Detroit. You're correct. However, Detroit didn't have Jameson Williams in that game, which does add a different element to the offense. So again, it was like a 30, what was it, 35-30. Like, it was a back and forth, crazy offensive affair. Like, I'm not saying that Seattle will get smoked by the Lions. What I'm saying is the Lions are really damn good. And I would probably give the Lions the same chance that I would the Seahawks, right? Like 15%-ish, so collectively they got like 30%. I would say, Eagles at like 30% and then 40% to the field. Like, that seems fair, right? Give the Niners another 15%, fine. So, 25% to the field after those top 4 teams? Seems fair. But, like, Lions with Jameson Williams and without Jameson Williams, 2 very different offenses, so...
Yeah, and it's, we're starting to understand things. We're starting to know more things about more teams, but we still, a couple of weeks ago, even last week, we got surprised by a bunch of stuff. It's unpredictable, but over the long haul of 17 games, some of the truths that we believe to hold true will probably play out. And at this point, I would say short of a bunch of injuries to a team like Philadelphia, because the roster's so deep, like, it's going to be really difficult to beat them, even if they sort of drop down from the level they're at now and, they get an injury to one of their playmakers on offense. It's still going to be that defensive line, still going to be that offensive line to run behind. Like, they can play and win in a lot of different ways. They are not 1 or 2 player dependent like so many other teams in the league really are. Okay, that was a terrible play.
And another flag.
And chippy. Like,
yeah, the refs getting into Rachaad White's face.
Yeah, this is...
What's going on there?
Not ideal. I mean, we're false starting. Lovely. Can either team just like pull out a clean series here? I just don't feel like they can.
Drake says Lions defense has holes and the team seems to score a lot more with Montgomery. Well, you're correct. They score a lot more with Montgomery. He's the closer for them. Seattle has a real good shot at winning. 100% agree. Seattle's a very good team. They're a top 4 team in the NFC. Like, they can beat anybody. Really the only team that I'm giving like a truly appreciable advantage over them is Philly, but not by that much. Like, Seattle's really good. And we're going to see Seattle play against Philly later this season and put that to the test, right? So, like, if Seattle's playing all the top dogs on their way to the playoffs, so, like, they're going to be battle-tested as anybody.
And again, their roster is not Philadelphia's, but after the last 2 drafts from Schneider, like, it is completely reloaded. Like, they've got guys all the way along. They've suffered some offensive line injuries. If those guys come back healthy down the stretch, let's go.
All right,
Baker has spent more time in his own end zone, and White gets the first down. Bills have got to be upset about that. They had him.
So I did have – so this entry is insured. Khalil Shakir already burned me. Thanks, EJ. But I need – see, Rashad White, I need him to get 25 more yards. I need Cook to do nothing. I need Godwin to get like 20-something yards. No, 20 yards. And then Baker just keep throwing. I need Baker to get like 12 more attempts, and I'm good. It's doable.
Matt? Yeah, it could happen. Matt Aaron says, fun fact, going into week 8, Boye Mafe has the highest pass rush win rate. If you like that stat, you are going to love our preview episode that drops, I assume, tomorrow. Oh, how many did you need from Evans?
I don't know. They might call it back. Laundry on the field again. It's a primetime game, man. The refs want to get on TV too.
I don't like it. Just for the sake of the roster you put together before the game. But I
think that's the 18th penalty we've seen tonight.
I know. A lot. And a bunch on the Tampa Bay offensive line, which I was not expecting. The last penalty was on guy. What? Oh, well, it did kind of take his helmet off at the end.
I guess.
Like I
don't have to be happy about it.
No,
that's like I needed that.
Yeah, that seemed to be a little, I don't know, maybe there's another angle that would make that look much more egregious that I don't want to see. I kind of felt like that was a weak penalty too. Indeed. So if you like that stat about Boye Mafe, you are going to love our preview episode because we talked directly about Boye Mafe and the rest of the Seahawks pass rush as well. But we led off with Mafe because he is developing over the last couple of weeks in a way that is really beneficial to the Seahawks. He is taking that second-year jump with Uchenna Nwosu banged up. He has stepped right into that void, and they have not missed a beat. It's been really cool to see. We really wanted Mafe to go to a place where we thought he would get some development because physically he was dominant. From a technical standpoint, he was not, and he's been working, man. He's been putting in a bunch of work. He is a better player than when he came out of college. And he's starting to sort of leverage all those physical gifts, and it's fun to see. He's turning into the player we hoped he could be.
All right, a lot of catch and runs now for the Bucs, which is just chewing clock. They really got to play with pace here. If they're not going to get the big chunks, like they got to go.
So Ethan Whitman for $2, Devin Witherspoon for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Man, it's like you listen.
Speaking of things we're talking about tomorrow,
we had a whole segment on that too. So if you're into that, check out the podcast when it drops tomorrow. We covered that.
The short answer is yes.
Yeah, he should be in the conversation. If Jalen Carter doesn't get injured, it's going to be difficult to not vote for him though, because he has been flat dominant.
Top two candidates are easily Spoon and Carter. And
Spoon and Carter.
It's Spoon, Carter, and everybody else. Like that's
I would agree.
Oh, did he get that?
Nah.
Oh my God, they called that a catch. Hold on. That's the one that Raheem Jarrett catches?
That's the thing about Raheem Jarrett is the first tape I looked at, because he was way down my receiver board. I watched him very late.
No way. I think
they just snapped it.
But I think he did get his back foot in. I think he got it.
I think he did too. All of a sudden, Baker's kind of heating up a little bit. Hits Raheem Jarrett, hits K. Dotton. All of a sudden, feels like the Bucs switch on offense kind of turned on. It's either time for a penalty or they're going to score points. I can't tell which. One of the two, not both. But yes, Raheem Jarrett, there was like 5 or 6 catches on his tape. I was like, why aren't more people talking about this? And then I went back to the full film study, and it's those mixed in with what I would call like concentration drops and a bunch of them. And people were like, Raheem Jarrett has terrible hands. And after I'd watched his highlights, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he makes some of the most ridiculous catches in his class. But some of the easy ones he drops in his numbers. So legitimate concern, but he's got it in him. Again, not everybody can make that catch on the sidelines. Almost everybody can catch the ball when it gets in their numbers. If he finds consistency, it'll be a gem for the Bucs.
All right. They're driving. Oh, Baker.
Oh, no. Those pockets aren't going to last all night, buddy.
So that was his second sack. I just had lower than 2.5. So as long as he doesn't take another one.
Yeah, he's had, honestly, again, the Bucs offensive line, I think, knew that you picked that stat. And they've been holding up, like, they've been giving him great pockets to work in all night. So,
man, I don't know if I'm going to get either of these. That first rushing touchdown from Josh, like, it's great for Bills fans, not great for me. I needed that to be a pass.
Well, you needed him not to stall on 3 straight drives in the third quarter.
That's true.
Fourth. Like, that's what you needed, was because a passing touchdown in any of those really put this game away. If you put the extra touchdown on top from 24, let's be honest, this Bucs offense isn't coming back from that deficit.
All right. Wait, was that another sack? I don't think it was. Was it? Are they counting that as a sack or as a run?
Okay, ball is just short of the line. That's a sack.
Fuck.
Because no gain.
Well,
tackle for no gain as a quarterback counts.
There goes that. Okay, then.
2 plays. Yeah. Took 2 plays once they had to start throwing. Oh, see, this is what the Bills, not the flag, of course. This is what the Bills wanted to do initially, was snuff the Tampa Bay run game and say, yeah, Baker, we want you to throw deep, right? Oh, that's against the Bills.
Well,
it's going to keep the drive going.
Oh, illegal contact.
Illegal contact.
On Tehran.
So this is what the Bills wanted to do from early on, but then the Bucs showed the ability to run the ball, and they were like, wait, what? We stopped a bunch of them. They got those, run and I'll say, run adjacent screens and whatever else. But so now, late in the game, Bucs are forced to throw. They're going to have to throw for chunks. Bills want that matchup right now in secondary. They're feeling really good about it, but they wanted to force this from the Bucs earlier, and they just weren't able to do it.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. How is...
Oh, you got to hold on to that. That's rough.
That's that Bills secondary, man. All right.
Ooh, short round for $20. Thank you, short round. Brett, you mentioned Filipino food earlier. Have either of you had? Is it pronounced balut or balut?
I think it would be pronounced balut. I'm not sure that I've had. I've had a lot of Filipino food. I'm gonna look it up.
I don't believe I have.
I'm gonna look it up because now I'm fascinated. Because Filipino food. I mean, my mom grew up in Hawaii, and Hawaii is a great mixing pot of Polynesian food, Japanese food, Filipino food, Chinese food. So got exposed to a lot of that stuff really early. But I'm gonna check because maybe by another name. Let's find out.
Also, thoughts on Lincoln Riley potentially taking an NFL job sooner rather than later. I have to assume he's considering going wherever Caleb goes, but like USC is paying him such an ungodly amount of money. Like, there's a lot of NFL teams that I don't think would pay him as much as USC would pay him. So, like, from a financial perspective, also he's got young kids. Like, he doesn't want to move them again for like the second time in 3 years, make them change schools, all that kind of stuff. Like, he's got a good gig going at USC. Plus, he has some other really good young players coming into the program.
Baker hit as he throws.
If an NFL team is like, we'll give you $12 million and you get to coach Caleb for the next 15 years, he'd probably consider it. Well, he'd definitely consider it. But short of that, I don't think so.
All right. How's that Malört sitting?
Decent. Why?
Okay, trigger warning for the audience. If you don't like weird street food, turn away now.
Okay.
Balut is a fertilized developing egg embryo that is boiled or steamed and eaten from the shell, sold as street food, usually incubated for a period of 14 to 21 days.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Fertilized?
Uh-huh.
So it's like a partially developed bird?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah. The pictures don't look great, which is why I asked about how the Malört was sitting, because yeah, we all have our things.
I'm sure if you season it right, it's okay.
I would think I might have to drink a lot of Malört to try that. And I try a lot of things. Phillips bails him out with a face mask on the sack. Oh no. And it was a bad one too. That was a grab and pull.
Yeah.
That's not great. Not a safe play. You're definitely going to get that call every time.
I'm going to assume people have eaten that for a long time, and there's probably a reason.
I think that is a generous way to look at that. I've tried a great many things in my life, food-wise. I have never tried that. I can safely say that, nope, I've never had Balut.
I mean, I'm a guy that doesn't like oysters because of the texture, so that sounds absolutely up my alley.
You're not going to be big on this. I assume, short round, that you have. Tell us how you think it is. Oh,
Evans almost had that.
Yeah, almost the Evans touchdown. You weren't looking for touchdowns. You were looking for yards. But again, man, game of inches. Like the flag on the big Evans, gainer earlier. This is a 24-yard ball. Like he gets credit for 24 yards there if he catches it. It was in his hands. Double coverage. I don't expect him necessarily. Yeah, it would have been a thing with possession whether his knee hit the line too. But again, we're talking about the difference being this much on two plays. Yeah. That's why it's super frustrating. Okay, now is 56 not lined up in the neutral zone? That sure looks like
he's gotten some real good jumps in this game, to put it nicely.
I was just saying where his hand was. His hand looked like it was even with the ball.
I think he was.
That was.
But I also think I got to look at the tackle because he might be lining himself up based on the tackle. So I got to see if the tackle's off because that's what got Dee Ford back in that AFC Championship a few years back. The tackle was lined up, and so he was like, "Oh, I'm just going to space myself based on that," and then he got called.
Yep.
That's a question for the All-22 tomorrow.
All right, I got to give a shout out to the Bills corners. They've played really well tonight. Like in general, they've played really well against. I mean, Godwin Evans is as top a competition as you're going to get. Like, look at this. That's a great play.
In terms of hands on it. Breaking on it from disadvantageous leverage, like that's tough to do. That's really tough to do.
Benford that's not the first play he's made tonight either. All right, somebody called timeout there.
Somebody called
timeout.
All right. There was another super chat. Hold on, where was it? Where would you rank the Falcons secondary group against the rest of the NFL? This is from Zoe Montgomery. I think they're solid. I would say Jesse Bates has obviously been the standout. AJ Terrell's been okay, but not his normal self. In terms of their best corner, I'm trying to find the stat that I had for it. I think I might have accidentally closed that tab. But D. Alford has been, ironically, from an efficiency standpoint, their best corner this year. And so I would say if AJ Terrell, like right now, I'd probably put him top 12 in the NFL. They've played well, but if AJ Terrell gets back to being like a top 3 to 4 corner in the league, this could very easily be a top 6 or 7 secondary because Bates is playing out of his mind. Alford's playing well. Richie Grant's improved. Like they got dudes. And there's the Evans. There we go. Been waiting for it all night. Great catch from him.
What's really weird is that's very reminiscent of what was it? Josh's like first completion of the game. just longer,
Yeah,
right?
I know,
Throw
right?
throw it at a defender who's not looking and barely slip it like right.
Oh, it hit off his helmet.
It literally hit Bedford's helmet. Like, come on, you can't cover any better than that.
That's awesome.
That's amazing that we get that turnaround. How many yards does that get him up to?
Probably like 30.
Oh yeah, and you needed what, 58?
Yeah, I already missed on that slip, I think.
Oh,
unless Josh gets a touchdown in the next.
Throws a late 2-minute touchdown. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Short round says basically balut is like a salty bird. If you don't let it develop super long, then you might get like a beak or feather, but generally it's just kind of like, he says, I had duck balut, you just crunch down on it, it's partially developed bird. It's basically like a bite-sized little salty bird. Okay, that doesn't mean I want to try it. Balut tastes just like hard-boiled eggs. Okay. And then Willis Honeycutt for $5. Appreciate that, Willis. Speaking of unique foods, just got back in Korea and had hongo, fermented skate, super, super ammonia. Yes, most fermented fish, if you're of the Scandinavian tradition, has that, lutefisk, like, people call it gasoline fish or live fish, or like, it's just it's a way to preserve fish without refrigeration. Like, and there's, fermentation is one way to do that. And yes, fermented fish is I'll be diplomatic and call it an acquired taste.
It's not a delicacy.
It is a very acquired taste. Like, I've had multiple versions of it from around the world. Still don't like it. Like, I eat lots of stuff. Not my favorite. So good on you for trying it. It's always nice to try things. But woo, yikes.
Yeah, I've never had hongo myself, Willis.
No, I've not had hongo. I've not had the Korean version.
And it is not at the top of my list.
You're not clamoring to run over to Koreatown and give it a shot.
There's a lot of Korean foods I can get. There's more Koreans in LA than anywhere else on earth other than Seoul. And I'm sure I could go get the best hongo money can buy this side of the Pacific.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other Korean foods I'd rather get first. There's a lot of Korean food I'd rather eat first.
And this is not Korean food. This is Korean inspired food. Habit has a Korean char burger right now, and it's got like kimchi on top, and it has both pork and then a char burger on it. It's good.
Really?
Yeah, I just had it like last Friday. Went to Habit. It was one of their like specials, and I was like, that actually sounds good. I was in the mood for a little spice, little kimchi. It was nice. I liked it.
Habit's really solid. I'm gonna say something controversial. In terms of like what is a better tasting fast food joint, Habit is better than In-N-Out. But
yeah,
here's the thing:
really fast.
It's not slow. But the thing is, when you're craving In-N-Out, like I consider that, and me and my wife both have this belief. When you're craving In-N-Out, you're craving In-N-Out. You're not craving a fast food burger. You're craving specifically In-N-Out. It is its own category. Yeah. And really what you're doing, you're craving grilled onions. Like that's honestly what you're craving is grilled onions. The In-N-Out is the vehicle for the grilled onions. If you're craving a fast food burger that is not specifically In-N-Out, you go to the Habit. Like it's better, objectively, But In-N-Out's its own domain, which is why it's never going to go out of business.
Well, I don't know. They don't have. We'll have to have. I guess it's going to have to be Whataburger because it's Texas. If we're going to the Shrine Bowl, right?
Whataburger's solid.
Like Whataburger's good, but we've made a point. There's actually an In-N-Out right near Allegiant. It's just what is that? East of the stadium. And so like on the way to practice or on the way to the, the press days or whatever, we've stopped at least once at In-N-Out the last couple of years when we've been in Vegas. Cause I don't have In-N-Out up here in Washington. You've got it there in California. So it's just a quick, like, hey, we're going from practice to, whatever, and grab an In-N-Out, but we're not going to be able to do that. I don't think they have.
Sure, we will. Super Bowl's in Vegas.
No, I just mean when we go to Shrine, because Shrine's going to be in Frisco this year. So that means I think we're going to have to do it at Whataburger.
We're doing Whataburger, and then we're going to take advantage of the opportunity and just eat our way through all the brisket spots. Like that's
that's our
goal.
Yeah. For sure.
So if you guys live in the DFW general area or around Frisco and know a good brisket place, please enlighten us.
Yeah, fire it up.
As someone living in Texas, Whataburger is okay. It's not as good as Texans claim, though. I think there's certain things about Whataburger that are better than In-N-Out. Like, I think the Whataburger fries are really good. In-N-Out shakes are better than Whataburger shakes. Like, Whataburger shakes to me are like, I don't know. They're not thick enough for me.
I don't have a lot of experience with Whataburger, so I'll have to take a back seat. But we've got plenty of time to figure this one out. Many more TNF streams before we go, because that's not till late January, early February. But yeah, we will be down in the DFW area for Shrine, and it is at Frisco at the Star, the Dallas Cowboys training facility. So looking forward to that. Eric and his group always put together a really solid event. We were talking about Shane Coughlin, the director of scouting, earlier. He puts together an incredible roster along with all the other scouts that work for Shrine, many of whom we know have gotten to know over the last couple of years. And great event. If you follow us, you've seen a lot of the content that we produce. We get to know some of those players. We got to interview Zay Flowers last year. There are many players over the last couple of years that we've interviewed that, have gone on to great pro careers. So a great event for us. We're looking forward to the new and I don't want to say improved, different destination, which should be pretty cool. Definitely fully featured, being the Cowboys practice facility. So should be awesome.
Good job by Allen to stay in bounds there, keep the clock running. That's the main goal here is clock management, force Tampa to use all their timeouts, which I think they might have one left, if memory serves. Force Tampa to use as many timeouts as possible, bleed as much clock as possible, play the field position game, and make Baker, again, if you're not scoring, make Baker, again, drive 90-plus yards. Like, that's the goal. Yeah, they have one timeout left. Okay, I did count correctly. Look at that, EJ.
Right, come on, 3rd and 5. You got to pick this up. This is, just from Buffalo for Buffalo's sake, right? You got to know that late in the game, tight game now, getting down towards 2-minute winning, you got to be able to pick up a 3rd and 5. There it is.
There it is. And that's what you still need 14 for, is when your back's against the wall and you got to have it. That's what Diggs is for.
And they did it. So Alex Humphreys for $1.99. Hutchins Barbecue in Frisco is amazing. Let me get my notebook.
He said he lives there, so I trust it. He's a local.
I don't care if he had it 10 years ago and he thought it was awesome. I'll try it. I'm down.
They caught him in a blitz. He threw hot.
They blitzed him. Yeah, he threw right over the top of the blitz. And
nice adjustment.
The guy to throw it at.
Nice adjustment.
And it just from the sort of psyche of Western New York, you have got to know that you can pick up a 3rd and 5, late in the game. You just, all the investment you've made, whatever you say about your team, you can't pick up a 3rd and 5 in a game that you're leading that's close late in the, you got to do it. You can't have that hanging over your head a month from now when it really counts.
You could see the people trying to beat the traffic. They're like, all right, we got this. See you guys later. We got work tomorrow.
Or just get back out to the RV and sleep, because there's a lot of folks that do that at Bills games too. They're like, screw work tomorrow.
Well,
we brought the RV.
What's
We're just
tough,
doing it.
So Mudlot, what I liked about Mudlot, it was easy to get out of. The traffic wasn't terrible. You know?
They blocked off the 2-lane and made it all one way out for several miles.
But if we can't go there, and we got to deal with all the lots that have a lot more traffic, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, well, just got to rent an RV, man.
I guess so.
Park it in the RV lot.
I guess so.
Not have to go anywhere. Remove the whole we got to leave anxiety. Now we're staying. Have fun.
Yeah, we're taking Friday off.
Yeah.
All right, one more first down. This game's over.
And honestly, I feel like as long as they don't give it away, this game is probably going to be over. Because if you do hand it back to the Bucs, there's not going to be very much time. They don't have any timeouts left. That 3rd down conversion was really the crux move. Now they just kind of have to not fuck it up.
If they can run for 5 yards when they absolutely need to run for 5 yards.
Well, they just ran for 3. So.
That's what I'm saying. You got 2 downs to do it. They know you're going to run it. But if you can do that, if you can get 5 yards when you absolutely need to get 5 yards, like that's something that Buffalo has not been able to do for a while. So
Matthew Wright, bootleg RV tour. It has been discussed.
What we need you guys to do so that we can do that is all go sign up at Underdog so that they keep sponsoring us so that we get the money to do a bootleg RV tour and go from stadium to stadium. That's our goal, is to make Underdog happy.
It's both. Like, do that, and if anybody's got a connection with an RV company that wants to like lend us one for several months during, like, I don't know, training camp, like,
we won't say no.
Yeah, holler at your boys. Like, we're into it. We will make sure they get plenty of publicity.
All right, they're gonna go for it on 4th down.
Well, it's ticking off, right? So it's 4th and 1. You're gonna take extra time off the clock.
Like, if it was me, I'm punting.
Well, I mean, punts aren't sure plays either. And if you have Josh Allen, I think you can make a yard.
My worry is giving it to him at midfield if they don't get it.
I understand.
It's a long one. Okay, yeah, they were trying to draw him off. They're going to punt.
It's like the 3rd time they've done that this game. I get a little annoyed by that, as you might be able to tell from the tenor in my voice.
It's dumb until it works.
Yeah, but like, how many times you got to do it before it works?
That's the thing. All night is anytime they stall out at midfield, this is another stall out at midfield. They're not going for it. They're punting. They're making the Bucs drive, and that's generally worked. They've held them at 18 points. Like, it's
I agree. Strategy. It's been a good strategy, but like, just like you said, it's dumb until it works. Like, punting's really great until it's a bad snap and it goes over your punter's head, and then you give them to it at your 30. Like,
I think it's one of those, they know they're playing against Tampa and not Kansas City. If they're playing against Kansas City, they would have gone for half of those, or all of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, the higher percentage play is making Baker go 90. God, look at that punt.
He
almost had it.
Player. You gotta be a better basketball player. Come on.
The punter's like, you're killing my net. Fuck you.
Come on. You had your hand on it. He's very much like the quarterbacks. Like, you touched it. You should have caught it.
My net. No.
Oh. Somebody said would rather see an RV decked out with a bootleg football wrap. So would we. We've certainly discussed it. And if that comes to pass, I got the guy who's going to design it. He does it for a living. Like, he designs liveries for race cars. And so, yeah, I think he would have to work in slightly larger format to deck out an entire RV, but we are down with it. It would be really cool. Okay, Cade Otton, chunk, gets out of bounds. Only 16 seconds left. No timeouts.
Brett sounds sober. I'm disappointed. Well, yell at Josh Allen for not turning the ball over.
This is Josh/Kyle Allen's fault for not throwing interceptions.
I mean, they threw one, but
yeah, it's true.
They spared me. They spared me from the 4-pick Malört fest.
Yeah, you took 2 to start, which was your own fear factor, and then, to follow that up reasonably quickly with a fluky interception. What are we doing here?
Did Baker? I think he thought he heard a whistle.
Yeah, he stopped.
He definitely thought he heard a whistle.
Yeah, he stopped. He flat out stopped.
Oh, before the ball was snapped, there was a timeout. That's what it was.
Oh,
so there was a whistle.
I'm glad he didn't take a hit on that, because that's just kind of useless. But can't be mad at Josh from Bulldog Gamer. I got him in fantasy. Okay, Bulldog. I like the silver lining. I'm just happy that I don't have to like put in welfare check texts tomorrow to Brett like I did after the last one, because
I'm just crippled.
I had multiple sources from me. They're like, "Is he alive? Like, do you know? Do we have proof of life?" I was like, I'll check. I'm gonna give him a minute. And yeah, it was a very it was a law-worthy tech stream for sure. He was feeling the effects for sure.
That's a hold. That's a hold. Well, I think they're just like, whatever. Let's get out of here. We don't.
Yeah,
we don't need our 20th penalty of the game.
Yeah. Well, Rachaad White, again, if you look at his numbers overall, I think this is kind of what we expected Rachaad White to be when he got drafted, which was an offensive threat that was sort of equal rushing and passing in terms of threat. And like he said, way more receiving yards, 65 tonight, only 39 rushing. But again, it's a 100-yard game, and we always knew that he was going to get it in both phases of the game, that he was not typically going to be the guy that was going to crack the century mark for you on the ground. It's just not how he's built. They giving it to him?
I think they are.
Yep.
So I'm starting to get worried because now they're in Hail Mary range, and Baker's got a cannon. So
yeah, you got.
I'm a little bit worried about that.
Yeah, yeah, this is not turned out super well for the Bills at the very end.
There's been a lot more clenching in this game than is necessary for the Bills.
I think that's a very good way to put it. Like, this didn't have to be this way. And again, I go back to those 3 or 4 drives from the end of the third quarter into the beginning of the fourth quarter where they just kind of did nothing and punted it and said, we'll be okay.
Another flag?
I think this one's on Tampa, false start.
God.
Find out.
Oh, no, it's
offsides.
Another. So Hail Mary range even more so now.
And it's Von Miller. Oh, boy. Come on, man. That is not a mistake you can make as a vet, dude.
So they're at midfield. This is
sketchy. He thought he had snap count. Yep.
This is sketchy.
This is possible when you have 2 tall receivers, Godwin and Evans. Like, Trey Palmer's not short either. He's not
he's
those guy.
6'1", I think.
Yeah, and fast as all get out, so you don't have to hold the ball as long. All right, come on.
Here it goes.
Here it comes. Knock it down.
Oh, he could have had it. He just had to find it.
He put it in the lights.
Chris,
find it.
Chris, find the ball, Chris.
Oh, I bet he lost it above the lights. That ball went way up. It was coming down at a steep angle.
Oh, it was right there.
Literally almost hit him in the numbers.
It was right there. Oh, my God.
He turns late.
Oh.
Reaction time wasn't there. If he'd hauled that in, that place would have gone silent.
Dude, if I'm a Bills fan there, I feel like I just saw a ghost. Like, I feel like I just saw... like I had a near-death experience. Like, that was almost a disaster.
Yeah, that would have been well, you know how it is. You've been there, but like they didn't lose the game you're at, but I've described it to you many times. Buffalo after a loss, any loss, not even a what would have been a, heart-cutting loss like that. Any loss, Buffalo is a depressed place to be after Bills loss. I wonder if that was Drew's end zone. Like, I wonder if that happened right in front of him. I hope not for his sake. I hope he didn't have to see that up close. Well,
that's brutal.
We're glad that so many of you hung out for the entire game. This turned out to be a good one. Down to the last play. You can't ask for anything more than that on a Thursday night game. Got to see some good football from both teams. Again, not really a complete game from either team, but enough to be hopeful about. I think if you're a fan of either team, like if you're a Bucs fan and you were told that the Bucs were going to march into, Orchard Park in like late October and take the Bills to the last play with a chance to win it, you probably would have been like, I hope so. I don't really think so.
And if you're a Bills fan, if you're like, hey, we looked really good in the first half and then stalled out the entire second half and barely survived the Hail Mary by 4 inches, but you still win. I'm a Bills fan. I'm like, great. That's awesome.
And you did pick up the 3rd and 5. Like, there are some good things. And if you can find that offensive rhythm that they had early in the first half, they looked completely unstoppable. and then they just stalled out. So second half adjustments for the Bills offense need a little work, but that first half script worked out all right. Are you really?
Matthew asked me for a celebratory Malört shot. They only got one turnover, so I feel like I owe the crowd, especially, was it 446 people are still here? You know what?
Well, we owe the crowd for that.
We pride ourselves on our community sticking around to the end. And we pride ourselves on rewarding that loyalty.
I'll take one of the Irish that's over there. Hang on, I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, so you get something delicious and I get fucking Malört. Coward.
No, smart. Whose fault is that?
God.
You did not have to put a Malört. This is more the Egan's. This is the one
Fitzy bought it for me. And you just happen to be lucky.
No, I have heard that my reckoning is coming, but I will not be.
I'm bringing an extra bottle of Frisco.
I'm not drinking a lot of it. I've already had it. Have you ever done something terribly stupid and then your whole goal in life was only to get other people to do the thing you did just because it was so stupid and you wouldn't feel as bad?
Yes.
That's Malört.
For the rest of my life, mine will also be Malört. I will have a bottle on hand that I never drink. The bottle on hand in my bar will just be for my guests. Anytime somebody comes over
who have made it to my home and I want to embarrass, like that's not guests really. That's different. No, it's like the one like super high jump off the quarry wall into the water that you did once, scared the living piss out of yourself, and then the next time you're like, that's not bad, I did it, go ahead. And then somebody comes up, they're like, that was terrifying. And you're like, yep, now you're in the club. Now it's your turn to go get somebody.
You know what? I would rather jump off a quarry wall than do this.
Oh, 100%. I did a lot of that as a kid because I actually thought it was fun. But no, yikes. No, Malört is horrendous.
Well, to everybody who donated tonight and asked questions and stuck with us to the end, we appreciate you. We appreciate our community. We appreciate you guys sticking with us every single show. Remember, we have our Week 8 preview episode coming out tomorrow. And then we're doing our Week 8 recap on Monday. And then we're back here next TNF for Steelers-Titans. God help us all with that one. Anyway, love you guys. Salute.
Cheers. Thanks for being here.
Fuck. Okay. I'm going to go wash my mouth out with mud.
Or Clorox, one of the two.
Because that tastes better. We will see you guys very soon. Enjoy tomorrow's show.
Take care. It's a good one.
Ugh.